All right, here we go. Episode number 22. We're live. We're up. Joe and I were already starting to talk, and I said I might as well hit the record button. Joe Carlucci is here. He is the owner of Valentina's Pizzeria and Wine Bar in Madison. If you're familiar with Madison, it's just kind of about 4 miles from County Line Road. I live right off County Line Road. I think it's about 4 miles just due west. And you'll hit it, and you won't miss it and we're going to talk about this mural later.
Okay.
But there's a beautiful mural on the side, has a lot of symbolism, a lot of significance to Joe. But Joe, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you? Thanks for having me. It's an honor.
Yeah, man. I always appreciate anybody's time that's willing to come on the podcast. So
No, I appreciate you even thinking of having me on, let alone asking me to be on.
So let's give a shout out right away to Dr. Joe Denoto. Do you know Joe?
I know Joe.
And I can't remember if in the email, when I kind of do an email intro and just kind of cold call someone, I probably hit you up on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm, you did.
I can't remember if I mentioned that Joe was one of a couple people who said, you need to reach out to Joe and have him on the show. But if I forgot to do that.
No, you did.
I saw him yesterday. The Space and Missile Defense Symposium is going on this week, so everybody in the industry were getting together and doing different things. And he said, "You did tell Joe that you know me, right?" And I'm like, "I think so, but if not, I'll do that."
Joe's a great guy. I've known him since I've been down here, about 12 years. I know his wife, his kids. He knows my daughter. He's been to my daughter's birthday parties. Great guy.
Yeah, he is. He genuinely is a good friend. Good guy, wants to help.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm just do everything I can to reciprocate that. He works for Ignite, and I interviewed his CEO, Clayton Hinchman, the founder of Ignite, twice. He had his leg blown off on an IED.
He owns
the Black Patch Distillery.
Yes. I know him.
Yep.
Good guy.
Yeah, really good. So it's been nice to connect with them. Before we came on the air and hit record, Joe was asking me a little bit about the Our Town podcast, and one of the cool things about Huntsville is that you can gain that town feel pretty quickly, and there's a lot of people who genuinely want to help you out and help you get going when you have a cool idea, whether it's starting a pizzeria and wine bar and a continuation of your career, or a government contracting, or a podcast, and that doesn't always exist in the rest of the country. So I think we have something special here.
We do. I would definitely agree.
So Joe, you're one of those guests. You're probably have by far the record for the most views I've seen on a YouTube clip when you set the world record, the Guinness Book of World Records for the pizza base spin in a minute. Mm-hmm. And we'll show that a little bit later on. And so from that, I think you've done what you can to promote yourself. So there's a lot of cool stuff out there on social media. If you type in Joe Carlucci and pizza, you'll get a few different things. But what I don't know, because you're probably about my age, we're in our mid 40s. 29, yeah. Going on 30.
Yeah, right.
Where it's hard to find. The internet necessarily didn't really follow us around. Probably it's a good thing in middle school or high school and earlier in our career before it kind of really took off. But can we start with Carmel? Is it Carmel or Carmel? How do you pronounce it? Carmel, New York. Mm-hmm. Tell me about what you know about the generations of your family, and we all immigrated from somewhere. Mm-hmm. Where did they come from? How long ago? How far back do you have that? And then start with Carmel.
Well, I grew up in Carmel, New York. Graduated in 1994.
See, I knew it. I graduated the same year.
My family, my mother grew up in the Bronx, New York, and my father. Mm-hmm. And my grandparents were from the Bronx, and their parents were from Italy. I'm Sicily and from Naples. So basically, third generation mm-hmm. Italian, more or less Italian American family. I have two sisters. Older, I'm the youngest. Carmel's a real small town. It's about an hour north of Manhattan. So it's not too far, but far enough, mm-hmm. Where I wasn't like a city person, but I can always hop on the train and get to the city. And I worked for my brother-in-law's, which is my sister's husband, in their pizzeria. They kind of got me started in the pizza business.
At what age? By the way, I'm showing for those listening. I'm actually showing a little bit of Carmel, kind of caramel. Gosh, I want to say caramel because there's caramel, there's caramel, and there's I don't know what's another pronunciation, but anyway.
Probably like 14 or 15. I started working when I was 9 at the batting cages in Carmel.
Okay.
I worked, so I started working young, and then I had a paper route, and then my mom worked in a dry cleaners. My mom was a single mom. She worked 3 jobs. She worked at a dry cleaners next to the pizzeria, and she worked there part-time as well. And I started washing dishes, and they were right off the boat, their father. Like, spoke Brooklyn English, couldn't let you look at the sauce, real old school. Like, you're doing dishes, that's all you're doing.
So it was your grandfather's pizzeria?
No, it was my now brother-in-law's father.
Okay. I'm sorry, I missed that.
That's fine. So I basically worked for them all through middle school. Well, not all through, but middle school and high school.
Okay.
I worked for them, and then as I worked years and years there, I became a delivery guy, and back then we had a flashlight. We didn't have cell phones. We had pay phones and beepers and try to call the customer. Then I worked the counter. I wasn't even allowed to make the dough of the sauce until like 4 years into it, because it was like a secret,
Yeah.
And they were from Queens, New York, and they came up, and they had some really the best pizza in town at the time, and it was a real busy place. So at a young age, I kind of got thrown into that, and I wasn't much of a, let's say, book smart.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it is today with these kids. Like, I was kind of more or less lost. I worked a lot in high school. When I say lost, like, there's no direction back then like there is now, maybe for kids, because like I should never went to college. It was a waste of my own personal money.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have took a trade school or art or for like BOCES, like culinary or something, maybe it would have been a little bit better. But went to college for.
Well, let's go back. You said you were 9. Started working at a batting cage.
Mm-hmm. I worked like 40 hours a week picking up balls at a batting cage in the summer.
And that was out of necessity to kind of
have
supplement the income for the family?
Well, my mom was a single mom with 3 kids, and if you wanted to eat and help out, you had to work, So she wasn't giving us anything we wanted. And I like to work. I've always loved to work. I have a passion to work hard, and I didn't mind.
Right.
And, I love money.
Sure.
Love making money, and a kid making money, you want to work more and more. And I'm a saver.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a minimalist.
Okay.
Like, I live like very simple, and I was a saver. I always saved my money.
Now, did you have to? Was there somebody you knew at the batting cage? I'm not trying to like incriminate you, but how do you get a job when you're 9? Like, with a work permit or
this was in the 80s. You could do anything back then.
I guess I never tried.
Think about it.
Yeah,
it's a little different now.
Yeah,
but back then, it wasn't hard. Well, it really wasn't.
Right. And then I guess in the community you're in, maybe in the surrounding, everyone's kind of
everybody knows. It was a small town. Everybody knew everybody. So it wasn't like, oh my God, that 9-year-olds. You had 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds picking up balls and paying you like $3.25 an hour, whatever it was.
Sure.
But I didn't mind. My mom didn't mind. She didn't want me sitting home playing video games. I wasn't a video gamer.
Right.
She was working. We were working. We didn't have a choice.
So then, as a kid, though, what other than work and hobbies and baking, are you involved in kind of preparing all the family meals? I basically what I'm getting at is, when did you kind of sink in that, man, I think I can cook? Or
not for a long time.
Not a long time?
No, my sisters did some of the cooking. I would mess around with it. Not until I didn't find my passion until I started working for my brother-in-laws. They kind of noticed it. My brother-in-law's brother, his name's Frankie, he kind of like mentored me. Mm-hmm. He would take me to Manhattan on Mondays or Sundays. In the summer, we'd go out to Italian restaurants. He'd take me all over the place, pay for it, and kind of like talk to me and mentored me into like, is this what you want to do? 15 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure, but I knew I liked it, and it was a challenge. I mean, I remember my first pizza was like a football. Then the second one was like a star. And I'm like, this is impossible. This is like, I can't do this.
You weren't trying to make a football or a star. That's the way it turned out.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a round circle. And I'm like, it's not as easy as it looks, and I love a challenge. I'm a competitor in anything I do. And like I said, I wasn't book smart, but I didn't mind the hours. And I always said to myself, yeah, you might be a lawyer one day or a doctor and you might make $200K and you might be this, but I can make the same amount of money and do something that I love to do.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always had that drive inside me. My mom instilled that. Like, you fall down 10 times, get up 11. Like, my mom don't feel sorry for yourself because no one else does. Mm-hmm. So let's go.
Reminds me of National Treasure when it's the attitude of, well, Thomas Edison didn't fail to, the other times until he figured out how to make the light bulb. He hadn't figured it out yet. And on the 1000th and one time he figured it out.
Did you ever see that? I don't know if it's real or not, but it says like something where he gets a letter from the teacher, and he brings the letter home. He doesn't open it, and he shows it to his mom, and it says that your son is mentally incompetent. And he says, "Mom, what does the letter say?" And she's like, "You're the most amazing student ever, and that
turns him around.
This school is not for you."
Okay.
I'll have to find it after and show you. And we're going to have to put you in another school, I guess, because he had some disability. So, I just thought I always look at that because I have ADHD to like the 100th degree.
Yeah.
Like, can't sit still, change my stories, So back then, they didn't know what ADHD was in the 80s and 90s.
Sure.
I just got diagnosed 10 years ago with it.
Yeah.
And so I like that kind of stuff.
It's like I'll tell people I might be ADHD. I just never was medicated.
Right. Yeah.
Or whatever it is. Like, yeah, a lot of us just never went down that path.
No.
Wouldn't have even known to go down that path. And
right. Back then, what do they know back then,
Right.
Just get in there and do it.
So it sounds like then, to kind of summarize the way you grew up, you kind of you went to school, kind of going through the motions there, probably had some friends there, but you're working, you enjoy working, and you just you're grinding, really,
Yep.
kind of from a young age.
Went to college. Paid my own way.
Where did you go to school?
SUNY Canton.
Okay.
Upstate, near Potsdam.
Mm-hmm.
Up north. No business going to college. Just partied, did drugs and drank, and because I never did anything in high school. Went there for a year, came back, did a community school. During high school, I worked at a pizzeria and I worked at a hospital. I worked literally 30 hours a week at the hospital, and then the weekends I'd work 7 to 3 at the hospital and 4 to 9 at the pizzeria. So I worked 7 days a week from 9th grade to 12th grade. I was like the mayor of the hospital, they'd say, because I worked so much there, and then I worked at the pizzeria. So when I came back from college, I still worked at the hospital and the pizzeria. I just flip-flopped. I worked full-time at the pizzeria, and I did the hospital part-time. I liked the hospital, but it was never my passion. I still always went back to the pizzeria.
So how hard was that when you're in college now and you're not doing that? Did you feel it right away? Did you miss it?
Yeah, there was actually a pizzeria.
Was there?
It was called Sergi's up in Canton. I used to go there and eat all the time, but I didn't go to work. But I would go in there and always ask them if they're hiring, or they wanted a delivery guy, but I didn't have a car up there.
Right.
But yeah, I missed it. I didn't missed it to the point where I wanted to leave because I was still, in that age where you don't know what you want to do with your life. Mm-hmm. But it was funny because I would connect with the people at the pizzeria and I'd go see them. I'd go hang out with them, but I just never worked there.
Is it like a lot of college age kids, or kind of?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard for them to wake up in the morning and they stay up late. Did you have some of that where maybe you were just used to being on the go? And you're kind of going stir crazy. It sounds like, I'm checking out the pizzeria, but man, I don't know if I'm fit for this college thing because I have ADHD. I can't sit down and focus. I don't want to take notes. I don't want to go to class. Right?
Your brain is going a million miles a minute.
Yeah.
And then for anybody who knows about ADHD, you have to have a structure. You have to have a schedule. Mm-hmm. I have a routine every day. I have to do it. And I have my brain is going a mile a minute. It's like scrambled eggs sometimes. So when I was at school, I was just what am I doing? It just kind of routine messed up. And back then, I still didn't know I was ADHD because I never got diagnosed.
Yeah.
I just got diagnosed as a learning disability when I was in high school, put into small classes with 12 people. Mm-hmm. And people would make fun of you because going in those classes, but they didn't know what it was.
Right.
No one knew what ADHD. I don't even know if they had that because there's ADD,
Yeah.
attention deficit disorder,
Right.
and then I have ADHD, attention deficit hyper disorder.
Right.
So they didn't know. So I'm in college for a year, paying money I saved all those years, wasting it.
Yeah.
So I mean, but it's a learning experience. I look back on everything I've done and the where I've gotten to today. I wouldn't change the route I took.
Yeah.
And a good friend of mine's a teacher, and she said to me, "You know what the difference between someone with ADHD or ADD is and someone that doesn't?" She said, "One takes the straight line of the road to get to where they have to go, and some take the zigzags. And the ADHD kids, they take a little longer sometimes, or take the longer way or the zigzags.
Yeah.
And that's what life's about.
Yeah.
As long as you get to where you want to be."
So you're up at SUNY,
Mm-hmm.
and did you finish?
No, I did
Okay.
a year.
Okay, so you did a year.
Mm-hmm.
Then where do you go?
I came home, did community college, and worked like 3 jobs, and did that for a year. And then my brother-in-laws were like, "Just come work with us. We're going to open another store." I was like 22 then. And I was like, all right. My mom was always like one of these people, love her to death, but like, what about the Joneses? What are neighbors going to say? Because what is the first thing people say to you? "Oh, where's your kid going to college? Where are you going to college?
Right.
What are you going to do after high school?" That's the big, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
"Oh, you're not going to college?"
Right.
"Oh, he's going to work?"
Or you're going to go to college in the same town? There's a
Yeah.
stigma
Are you going to
there.
go to, oh my God. Oh, no. Oh, you can't do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was like the cliche, but I didn't care, So still kind of a little lost at that age. And then when I was working for them, they opened another store and in Connecticut, in Danbury.
Mm-hmm.
So the plan was for me to go there and run that and kind of be like an owner, but not an owner. You know what I mean? Kind of like, oh, you're an owner, but you didn't put any money in.
Maybe earn some sweat equity.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that didn't work out that well. And I'll just advise everybody, never work with family. But anyway, did that for a year, and it just didn't work out, and it got really ugly, to be honest with you.
Really?
They were like kind of connected with some people, and we had a really bad falling out. I had a falling out with my mom, my sisters. I had people at my door asking for money. So that kind of gave me a bad taste in the bit at the time. And I was at like 24 at this time. And right before this all went down, and it was pretty bad, because it put my mom in the middle of my sister and me.
Mm-hmm.
And then people coming to my house, people come, looking for me. I saw this thing on the computer. It was a tryout for the U.S. pizza team. I was like, what is that? I was like, so my thought was, how do you compete with Domino's and Pizza Hut? How do you compete? You can't compete with them.
Right.
But man, if I got on the U.S. pizza team.
Yeah.
So.
Some notoriety.
Huge.
Yeah.
So I went up to Columbus, Ohio, and I tried out. And it was like the largest pizza stretch. And there was this guy from California. His name is Tony Gemignani, who would become the reason I'm sitting here today and my business is successful. Is him and only him.
Mm-hmm.
My mentor, like my idol. Everything in life is because of him and pizza. So I didn't. He says, "Don't throw it. You got it." He's like telling me from a distance, and I gave him this New York. Yeah, okay. He's West Coast, so I throw it up, rips, goes down, and he's like, "I told you." So I lose. So I come back, and my friend calls me. He's like, "Hey, there's an Italian restaurant up the street.
Mm-hmm.
You should get it." I'm like, "I have no money."
It's for sale.
Yeah, they want like $100,000. So what do? I go to my mom. I said, "Ma, there's a restaurant. They need $50,000. What does my mom do? She co-signs her house and gives me $50,000.
Right.
Meanwhile, growing up in the pizza business with my brother-in-laws, they didn't teach me a damn thing. Nothing about books. I knew nothing. Blind as a
About
bat.
running a business.
About running a business. Never went to college. Went to college but didn't do the business stuff. So I opened this place called Carlucci's. And who shows up? Some men in suits from my brother-in-laws asking for money. So that kind of, didn't go as well as we all wanted to go. But back then they had these things where like you can get $10,000, but you'd have to pay $20,000 back in like rebates, not rebates, but you'd go. It was like dine in or something. So I was getting this money to keep the business going, because I would get these credits or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And long story short, after 2 years, well, let me back up. So I try out for the U.S. pizza team again. And at the Jacob Javits Center for acrobatic, which is pizza throwing. Who's there? Tony. And this guy goes up before me, and this guy was horrible. And he's like, pulls me aside. He's like, please tell me you're better than this. I was like, I got you. And I did it like blindfolded, and I ended up coming in tied for first with my now teammate, but they gave me the win because it was hard or something. So I'm in Carlucci's restaurant. I just get blown up on press. Local Danbury, Connecticut, going to the Italy to compete in the United States on the United States pizza team. I get on ESPN's Cold Pizza. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, okay. I do.
I was on like the second ever episode.
Wow.
So I was on that. I met Tony and his wife Julie, who's like my third sister, and we bonded like from day one. So I come back. It helps the business, but the business is still struggling. And I'll never forget this. I called this guy, Big Dave, who's another mentor who passed away. And I called Tony and I called my mother. I was like 24, 25, and I was like 80,000 in debt.
Mm-hmm.
And I called Tony. He's like, you're going to be fine. It happens. Big Dave, that was his name. He's huge in the pizza industry. He talked to me for hours, said, this is nothing for you. You'll get past it. Call my mom. And I told her, and she's like, fine. I know you. You'll make the payments. And because she, her house was paid off, and now I have $50,000 that I have to pay her, and the restaurant's closed.
Right.
My mom's like, I'm not worried. Me, I have like a knot in my stomach. So,
they're not worried knowing you're going to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna make it. So right now you're just kind of in a low point. You're doubting yourself, right?
Yeah,
you're feeling the pressure of debt.
Yep. Okay. So, I kind of do some odd jobs. Worked at a carnival.
In addition to Carlucci's?
No, Carlucci's is done now.
That's
it's gone.
Okay. You lost it.
I filed bankruptcy.
Okay.
My attorney goes to jail for fraud, so my bankruptcy never goes through. Just remember that right now. It's going to come back and down the road.
Okay.
Right? My mom's boyfriend goes and helps me to find all this out. We didn't know. The guy never filed the papers. He took money from people. Long story short, he goes to jail. So now I'm like doing odd jobs. I don't know what I'm going to do. My mom works for AT&T Wireless in Scarsdale, New York. She gets me an interview. They're like, if you're anything like your mom, so they hire me. I can't walk and chew gum. I know nothing about electronics.
You're sitting in a cubicle.
I'm number one in sales for 10 months in a row in
Really?
New Jersey, New England, and New York. They take me to Madison Square Garden, seats on the floor, Yankee Stadium. I got a cruise to, I don't even know where it was. I'm like killing it.
Yeah.
Paying all. At the same time, I got a job at a local pizzeria. So I work there and at the pizzeria. And I'm just trying to pay all this debt back. Tony flies me out to California, and he had a place called Paisanos in Castro Valley. And he said, if you want to come out here, I'll fly you out and I'll get you an apartment and you can start working with me. And there was a part of me that wanted to do it so bad. And then there was a part of me that was like, this is not over yet. This is just beginning. I just can't give up on myself. Mm-hmm. And I said, I appreciate it. He's like, just an amazing individual. If you ever get the chance to speak to him, just amazing. Not most knowledgeable person you'll ever meet in this world about pizza.
Tony Gimignani.
Okay. His pizzeria just got named Pizzeria of the Year.
Wow.
So I'm like, no, thanks. I appreciate it. So I'm working at this pizzeria and the guy wants me full time. So I walk into AT&T and I give them my 2-week notice. I had district managers, regional managers calling my mom, why is he leaving? Don't leave. And I just sat down with them and looked them in the eye and said, it's not what I love to do. It's not about the money right now.
Yeah.
I just miss, the hours are long. And these are like, I'm working 10 hours. I'm making great money. I'm off 2 days a week. I'm coming in on my day off and I'm selling phones to like Tino Martinez.
Yeah.
Because that's where we were, right next to Central Avenue. Scarsdale is a big area for a lot of the sports teams that they live. So I start working for this guy.
No, have you settled your credit on the?
No, I'm still paying it off.
You're still paying it off. So okay.
So I work for this guy for like a year, and another pizzeria comes up, and it's a corner pizzeria next to all the nightclubs. The guy wants like 900 it's 900 square feet. He wants like $800 rent. So I go look at it, and again, I just don't have any money, but just looking, and this guy happens to be there, and I tell him my story and so forth, and he wants to like invest in me. I was like, oh, wow, okay. And talked to Tony about it, and said, let's think about it, because you got to be careful with investors. Go to Javits Center, because as I'm doing all this, let me back up. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Tony is flying myself, Michael Shepard, and Siler Chapman all over the world. If we had Facebook and social media back then, we would have been the pizza gurus, because we were in Dominican Republic, we were in Germany, Munich, we were in West Virginia, we were doing Italian festivals.
Hold on, let me switch to see if I have the right picture of you guys.
That's it.
That's it right there?
Yep.
Those guys?
Yeah.
That's you. Those
okay,
guys
so,
meaning you.
So as I was transitioning, and I apologize because I know I'm all over the place.
No, this is your episode, man.
As I was transitioning from leaving Redendo's, that's the name of it, in Connecticut, to Carlucci's, and when I went to Carlucci's, I won on the spot on the U.S. pizza team. There was some controversy in the pizza world. There's a lot. So we're in West Virginia.
Which city?
I don't even know.
There's only like maybe three that.
I got it.
Charlestown, Martinsburg.
It was an Italian festival. I'll get the name. And we're in the hotel room. And Tony says, you're going to never have to throw pizza or compete again. And he said, honestly, you guys, the people coming up practice more, and they're going to be amazing. But you guys will be icons. And we look at him, we're like, what? He said, we're going to form our own team. And we're going to be called the World Pizza Champions. He said, people are going to sponsor us. They're going to pay us and fly us to Italy and compete, because Italy is where the world championships are.
Sure. And
Siler Chapman, Ken Bryant, Sean Browser, Tony, and I think I said Michael, looked at him. So there is a trade magazine called Pizza Today, and there's a magazine called PMQ. Two biggest rivals. Pizza Today is like the Cadillac of the industry.
Okay.
We sit down with the president and vice president at the Javits Center, and we already have like race car outfits on that just say World Pizza Champions. And then we just have, that's it. And Tony sits down and says, we're going to bring back the World Pizza Games, because the World Pizza Games were going on since the 90s. Tony competed at them. He went to Italy and won, and they told him, you're not going to ever win again, so don't compete. This is Italy. He beat everybody everywhere. He's a 13-time world champion. So they say, okay. Tony says, just pay my guys, airfare and hotel, don't pay us a dime. If we perform like we do, we sign a contract. We blew it out of the water. We've been doing it for 20 years. So that's how the World Pizza Champions formed.
Okay.
So I'm in Atlantic City running the World Pizza Games. There's a guy that has 4 or 5 locations in Danbury, Bethel, and Newtown, Connecticut. And he saw me on the Food Network competing, because I had competed a couple TV shows. Tony got us literally on the Food Network. And, hey, I'm from Connecticut. Where are you from? Oh, my God, we're 10 minutes away. Long story short, we meet. I tell him I'm going to open this place. He's like, I'll do it for you. Let's do it together. Let's call it Famous Joe's. That's how Famous Joe's was born in Danbury. Well, that opened in 2005.
Now, step back. Weren't you guys sitting in a car and you saw a place called Famous Ray's, or there was a Famous Ray
Well, yeah,
that inspired that?
yeah. Well, we were in the car. Bruno, his name is Bruno.
Okay.
Fabio. We were in a car, and there was a bag that said Famous Ray's.
Okay.
And across the street was the pizza place, and he said, "Let's call it Famous Joe's. It sounds great,
And you're going to be famous."
One. I said, "That's kind of like arrogant, and I'm not. I might come off that way, but I was like, okay." So we do it. He puts $250,000 into 900 square feet.
Wow.
So I'm like, and Tony's like, "Be careful, be careful. People are going to use your name. They're going to say you're the owner." So this is 2005. I think the deal was I get like $400 a week, 7 days a week until it's paid off. Like, I'm still like, okay. I'm getting a lot of notoriety at these pizza shows because you want to open a pizzeria and you go and you see this guy on stage and it says World Pizza Champions. Now, mind you, we had went to Italy and won back-to-back titles. Yeah. The team did. And after that, they told us you can't compete anymore. So we're getting all this notoriety without social media, where it is. In 2006, I met a guy named Joe Moore, who currently owns Tutoras in Hampton Cove. Another amazing soul that you should get on here.
Joe Moore.
Yes.
By the way, as an aside, real quick, I mean, 2 bold moves. 1, declare yourself the World Pizza Champions before you were a champion. And 2, Famous Joe's before you were famous.
Right.
That's brilliant.
That's Tony. He is brilliant.
Okay. Sorry, go ahead.
So we go to the show, and Tony's already doing consulting and said, "Hey, man, I can get you some consulting gigs. You know enough about how to train people about some things in the pizza, and Big Dave can do the other side, and then I could do some too with you." So Big Dave would call me up and be like, "Hey, do you want to go to Kentucky for 2 days? They don't know how to make New York style pizza, and these people just want to open a place." I'm like, "Sure." So I start doing that, and I meet Joe Moore at a show, and he says, "Well, I'm thinking about opening up a place." Now, this is 2006, and would you and Tony come? I said, "Sure." So it took, and this is just how business and leases and whatever it is, took 2 years, I think 3. 2009, Tony and I come down here. Okay, never been here.
Yep.
Joe says to me, "Do you and Tony mind staying with my sister at her house because he's paying us X amount of dollars, and I want to try to conserve some money." So we're like, no. So mind you, I still had Famous Joe's in Danbury with Bruno.
Sure.
Okay. Tony stays for 5 days, and Tony's like a West Coast guy. He's just awesome.
Yeah.
I'm this New York guy yelling. He's like, I'm on the pizza line. He's in the kitchen. He's like, "This is Alabama." He's like, "I could hear you back." He's like, because he's just everything about him is awesome. So he's like, "You got to calm down." I'm like, "I'm not yelling." He's like, "You're yelling. I could tell you're yelling at this kid." And the kid is like ready to piss his pants. He's like,
"Yeah,
you're freaking these people out." So he stays for 5 days.
Okay.
I stay for 10. On Sunday, they're like, "Oh, we're not going to work today. We're going to do a barbecue." Now, I'm from the north, so I'm like, okay, hamburgers and hot dogs.
Oh, right.
Full out spread.
Yeah.
Well, I fall in love with the family. His sister and me is like another sister to me. His brother-in-law, Corey, we're like brothers. So after 10 days, they asked me to stay for 2 more days and pay me even more. I go back because the Danbury store was just for what we put in, we're not getting out.
Yeah.
Even
though it was near all the nightclubs.
Yeah. So let me go back again because this is my ADD. This is bad. So Bruno has a friend. He's called the Butcher. That's his name.
Oh boy.
He sees what Bruno does and wants to get in the business. Buys Bruno out of his piece for $100,000. So he's in now. I'm thinking I'm going to have a partner that's actually working because I was the mule.
Yep.
So he comes in and we're working till like 2, 3 in the morning while I am. And he's just like never there. And we're not making payments to Bruno. And I'm like, I'm not even getting paid. I went like 6 months living in like apartments, and I don't ask for money. I don't borrow money.
Mm-hmm.
Like my mom gave me that. I'm not borrowing it. Like I'm making the payments for her anywhere I can, selling, I'm scrounging.
Mm-hmm.
So I go and I get all this money for the consulting, and I'm living with my girlfriend at the time, this Brazilian crazy girl, good girl but crazy Brazilian. So I don't call. I don't call her. I work 16 hours a day at Torres for like 9 days straight.
Right.
I come back and find my clothes in a garbage bag with no place to live. And the pizzeria was just a disaster because this guy didn't want to get his hands dirty.
Mm-hmm.
So I walk in, I'm like, what am I doing with my life? What am I doing? So when I was down here, I met a guy by the name of Kevin Napper. He worked for one of the food companies in Atlanta. He said, man, if you come down here and do some consulting, you would kill it. He's like, no one knows how to make pizza down here. And I was like, I'm going to be honest with you. I loved it. They would fly me back after I went to Vegas or Italy, meaning Joe Moore, because Joe will tell you he can't boil water, but he's the best businessman I've ever met in my life. He's got 2 businesses 20 feet apart that are killing it. He would fly me back, and I got homesick. I was like in tears when I would leave. I would text his sister, text his brother-in-law, how's the restaurant? It's good, but because I was like, he's like, I think you should come back and run it. Joe needs a GM. Come back, do the consulting on the side. So no place to live, not on any paper at Famous Joe's. It was my nephew's communion, and we're on a Saturday night in Dutchess at my sister's house, and my car is packed, and I said, I'm moving to Alabama. And they said, yeah, okay. And they said, when? I said, about 2 hours. Drove straight through.
Wow.
Get here, 5 minutes, I get a ticket.
Really?
The guy's like, where are you from? I'm like, where are you from? He says, I said, I'm from my mother. He's because he couldn't say my name.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so so I stay with Corey and them, and the consulting was just, it's not that easy just to start up.
Yeah.
So I started kind of like helping Joe, being the GM there, and while I was there, we won Best Pizza in the country in 2009, I think, or 10. No.
This is over in Hampton Cove.
Yes,
Okay.
we won Best Pizza in the country, and
Tell me about that pizza.
it was called the Sydney, which now is the Valentina, my daughter's name. It's the same pizza.
Sure.
It's got chorizo, caramelized onions, pepperdew peppers, bacon, balsamic glaze, and basil. So we win that, and Totores just takes off. And I was there for 2 years, working 6-7 days a week with Joe. He'd give me days off. I would come in because I had no friends. I started doing CrossFit.
Yeah, okay.
Before, when it was underground, like before anybody started doing it, it was like $50 a month. So I'm doing CrossFit with these very high profile name people in the area. People that like are very prominent to Huntsville, like Joe Rich.
Yeah, Joe Rich. I know him.
Okay.
He's the chair of the chamber, right?
Dr. Howard Miller.
Okay.
He's the one that actually, I think, opened it with his kids. So I
I
started
just saw Joe last night, and I remember thinking, I've only usually seen him on stage at like these chamber events, but I walked by him, I'm like, that dude's in shape.
Joe?
Yeah. I didn't really
his
speak to
age.
him, but yeah, he's in good shape.
For his age, yeah.
Yeah.
So they start coming into Totores, and they're like, how hard would this be to do? Because I always said to Joe, are you going to open another one? He's like, nah. Joe's one of the smartest business people I've ever been around. And I learned a lot from him in the 2 years over there. So he said, no, not yet. And these guys that I was going to work out with were like, how hard would it be for you to open one? And I'm like, I don't have any money. They're like, we could raise money tomorrow. And it was kind of like, I really always thought I'd just stay at Totores forever. My mom loves them. I love them. It was like great. He took care of me every way possible. But yet again, I had that like, I have to prove to myself I can do it on my own. You know?
Sure.
I mean, I would
unfinished business.
Yeah, because I should have, not should have, because I want to be where I am, but you know, if I was going to stay anywhere, it would have been with Joe more, you know. But, you know, I'm impatient and I wanted to now, like I need everything. I did. Older I get, I'm kind of like, so I quit Tutors, and Joe Rich was kind of the head of the guy, helped find a group of individuals, a little too many, about 12.
Private investors, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend, bless his heart, he passed away in April. He was like a Tony, but on the restaurant pizza side. I met him through Tony because he had a gig in Maryland. He had 19 pizzerias. His name's Greg Rapoli. He just passed away. One of the smartest guys I ever met in every end. He was like a Tony and a Joe Moore and all in one. And so I had told him about this, and he's like, "You need 12 people to raise 200,000." He's like, "That's too many people. They're afraid to take a risk. 10,000 here, 20 here." He's like, "Be careful." So of course I don't listen, and we go looking for a location. Now this is in 2010, and we go out the county line. And it's just nothing but woods.
That's where we are right now.
And we find a place. And the place is, I forgot the name of it. It was a seafood place.
Huh.
Right in front of Publix on County Line.
Sure.
What happened there was they got shut down after 6 months because their general manager got raped and murdered in Knoxville in a training.
Oh, my goodness.
You could look it up. I can't think of the name. So it was an established restaurant already. So it wasn't like you didn't need to fully do everything to it.
Right.
So we form this thing and we call it Famous Joe's. Right?
Yeah.
Why not? So, wait, hold on. Let me back up. See, that's my ADD.
That's all right.
I should have had this written down. So I'm at Tutors.
It's also age, right?
I'm at Tutors, right?
Yeah.
And my friend is now working in my old pizzeria. A friend of mine that Bruno put in there.
Uh-huh.
He calls me up. He's like, just want to let you know the marshal was just here looking for you. Had some paperwork. Oh, okay. I said, just open it. When I bought Carlucci's,
Oh no, here we go.
the deal was it was $110,000, wasn't worth $5,000. My own fault, nobody else's. Gave them $50. Never made a payment to them. When the marshal came and said to me, they're going to take the restaurant back, I thought taking it back means I don't have to pay that money.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I freak out. Joe's sister's an attorney in New Orleans, and his brother-in-law helped me. They find me an attorney here because literally it was like one day before it'd be like I don't know the name of it, where they couldn't do anything to me because it was statute of limitations.
Statute of limitations. Yeah.
So long story short, I have to file bankruptcy. And I found an attorney in Huntsville that did it, and once again I'm like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
You know, that's like the worst feeling in the world. I feel like a loser.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? I don't know how to do anything.
It's this roller coaster you're on, in a way, right?
So, you know, I'm saving this money. I'm living with Joe's sister and brother-in-law. And I'm saving this money, but I'm like, there goes my credit. You know, Mom always said you got to have good credit for things. And I'm just like, oh, God. So when I met these guys, I told them everything. So my name was on the lease, but like, and I was 12.5% ownership.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, but my name's up there. So we open up Madison.
Famous Joe's.
Famous Joe's.
Yeah.
Balls to the wall. Boom. We're doing 25 a week. First week, second week. I mean, we're just killing it.
And like you said, there's not, here we are in 2022, and there's a lot of newer homes that are off county line, right?
Oh, we would have.
James Clemens probably didn't even exist yet.
It just got built.
Just got built. So it was a gamble even on the location. Like, what are you doing? Why so far out? Why wouldn't you do it downtown, right?
Yeah.
Why not off Triana?
Yeah. So my friend from Baltimore comes down, and his stores are do like 40 or 50, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we had like a board meeting. Well, he met with all my investors and they just loved them. So we have a board meeting. And he's like, if this kid doesn't jump off this roof yet, I don't know when he's going to. He said, this is not built to do the number you're doing. You don't have the right equipment. You don't have the right help. You have one of your investors in this store that knows nothing about business, or nothing about pizza.
Yeah. On
top of him, and they said, well, why don't you come in? And he's like, because I'm in Baltimore, I'm in Maryland, and like I have my own things. I'll do anything for Joe. He did.
Yeah.
So called Tony. He told me he should have sent me the contract. Tony always like, let me see what you're signing. Don't So Famous Joe's opens the first year we do $1 million. I make $1,000 a week. That's it. I'd say we need to buy this. We need to buy this. They're like, whoa. I said, we need to advertise. They don't want to advertise. Second year, Sam and Greg or Stevie B's opened. We do like 900. I'm like, we need to advertise. We got to stay on top of it.
How much staff do you have?
Oh, 45 people.
45 people.
Yeah. And I'm a maniac, by the way. Okay?
Sure.
This is pre-Valentina. I'm screaming, yelling, cursing, throwing pots, pans, like Gordon Ramsay on steroids. Like people are like, this guy is crazy. He's nuts.
Yeah.
Probably couldn't handle it, As I'm doing CrossFit, I met Valentina's mother, my ex.
Okay.
So we start dating, and she's a configuration specialist. She's like extremely smart, like on another level. She's one of the smartest people I know. She can win fantasy football 5 years in a row. She's just smart. And we go to Italy, and I win fastest pizza maker in the world.
Yeah, actually, I think I have that clip. Let me pull that up real quick so we can. Right, this one right here, right?
Yeah. So
I won't play the audio, but we'll do the video. Oh, there it is. So go ahead. Sorry. So you're in Italy.
So me and her and Tony are in Italy. Tony wins first place for something over there, like he always does. So I win. We come back, and they were like, you spent like the store money to go, when she's like all the receipts, and they had a big problem with it. But they didn't have a problem with Nashville news, TV. We blew up. It put us over the top, and they didn't see that. It was hard. It wasn't their fault. They're great people. They believed in me. They didn't see that vision, and my friend would try to like tell them that,
Kind of, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah. So we're in like this second year, and I find out that some of the investors, not Joe, were calling my friend from Baltimore saying, hey, listen, we'll get rid of him tomorrow if you come in and help us run this. And he's like, do you realize what you're saying? He's calling me. He's like, you're going to have to get out of this. I'm like, how? So I have a really good friend in town. He owns a painting company. And so what happens is they have a meeting with me. And they say, we're going to sell.
The 12 investors.
No,
or however.
Like 10 of them. There was like a board. They made a board.
Okay, gotcha.
And I'm like, okay. And they're like, we're not making any money. Meanwhile, it's year 2.
Right.
So I'm like, okay. And we're doing 15, 17 a week at this point. We went down. At that time, my daughter's mother was pregnant, and we went through a custody battle. My daughter was born, and we went through a custody battle.
Was she from Alabama?
Chattanooga, but she lived, yeah.
Okay.
And, I just wanted split custody. My daughter is the reason my heart is beating today. She's my air, my breath. She's my whole world. I sacrifice relationships, life. Without my daughter, I don't breathe. So, I probably have a little to blame or a lot to blame, whatever you want. But, the business wasn't as focused on, they thought, because I was fighting this. I was very close with, at the time, Mayor Trulock. I was good friends with Mayor Finley. Like, they would all come in. I got letters from they were great people. General Pillsbury, O'Reilly. I mean, I had letters And I went to court. One person.
Witness letters like this.
Yeah,
Joe's a good, upstanding citizen and
one friend.
loving father.
You should.
Here we go.
You should get him. You should get him on. His name's Clay Stewart.
Okay.
He's one of the sharpest business guys. He owns gyms. He's a trainer. Very well-rounded guy. He's the only one that showed up for court. So we go to court, and I had a crappy lawyer, and she had a good lawyer. And they say, Mr. Carlucci, where are you going after this? I said, I'm getting on a plane and going to Los Angeles. And they said, for what? I said, to be on a TV show called The Taste. I was a competitor. And how much you getting paid? I said, $16. And they said, and my whole back is covered in tattoos of my daughter. And my car was covered. And they said, that's all you get? And I said, yeah. So they made it like I was making a lot of money. So long story short, I lost. Limestone County. I'll never forget the day that my daughter's mother called me, and she's like, oh, did you get the results? And I'm like, no. She's like, Valentina every other weekend and every second Wednesday. Sorry. And I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, what is going on? And I was like, lost again, keep losing.
You said every Sunday or every other Sunday?
Every Sunday and every other Wednesday.
And every other Wednesday.
And
okay.
She's like, Joe, I don't want you to lose your house. I don't want you to. And the child support was outrageous. I was like, how do they even come up with this? I don't even make this.
Right.
But at the time, I was making good money, because of all the shows I did. When I go to the shows, I get paid. So but I'm still paying all this debt.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter. So that broke me. It broke me really bad.
This is 2010?
2012.
2012.
The restaurant is 2 years.
Okay.
Then fast forward and they say, we're going to sell. I said, okay. So my friend who's the painter was going to offer them little to nothing. They refused. So they say to me, we're closing in 2 weeks. I said, what do you mean? They said, we're going to put a sign that says remodeling. I said, I live here. That's the only thing we could do. It's not like we have no money, but they're not making the money they wanted. I said, why? Well, that's what we're going to do. You don't have a choice. So we posted on Facebook then, remodeling, and never opened. And I, probably one of many lowest points in my life. No job. Don't know how I'm going to get around. You have to face my employees and tell them. I had to tell them, some of them.
Yeah.
I mean, because now it's all on me, because I was the face of it. Mm-hmm. No one knows that these are all the investors. So, it's funny when you have a restaurant and people come in every day for a beer. You buy them a beer. You talk to them about your problems. They talk to you. And you think they're your friend. Mm-hmm. And it's not a friendship. It's an acquaintance. Because when you lose what you have and then you don't have anybody there was one person.
Who's your real friends?
Joey Farrow. One guy. He was a pharmacist, a pharmaceutical rep. And he used to give me business, and I became close with him and his wife. And he called me every day. And he's like, what are you going to do? I don't know. Let's be realistic. I can't walk and chew gum. I have a high school diploma. I'm a pizza guy. It doesn't matter if I'm a champion or not. No one's going to pay me $50 an hour. I'm realistic, and I wouldn't take it from them. Mm-hmm. So I started catering out of my house for a year and survived. Because Joey would help me with other reps, and I would just cater out of my house. Now we're into get my daughter every weekend, just me and my daughter. Just me and my daughter, nothing. Mm-hmm. Went out in town a little, but people would be like, oh, that guy, he was crazy, went out of business. I was, I'm not happy or proud of the way I acted with some employees, and that was immature and probably like not knowing how to handle stress back then. But I think more people were like, I don't want to say happy, but probably happy.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the decision or judgments made against you, those that were, testing your character, was based on what they were seeing here in your interaction with employees, or was there a matter of looking back into your past and seeing some of the, the issues that went on in New York, a combination of the two?
I think it was more of you mean that the people, their view of me?
Yeah, like
I think it was the people, what they saw when when I'm
making just under $1 million.
When I'm like to the kid, like, you move like a turtle. Like, dead people move faster than you. Move your ass.
Right.
That's what I would say.
Right.
In New York, they're going to say that you're going to move. So anyway, I did that, and then 2015, I find this place in Athens. No, I'm looking for a real commissary, which is a kitchen where you can cook in.
Sure.
I get one of the food reps says, "Hey man, Picasso's in Athens is trying to get out of his lease. You might be able to go in there and use it as a commissary." So I go talk to the guy.
Keep doing your catering, but you're going to do your cooking there.
Talk to the guy. He wants to get out of his lease completely and be out of the store. Okay. Hey, it's already set up.
And it's right next to that gas station.
No, this is right next to Starbucks in Athens on 72.
Okay.
I said, man, I could put a place here. Go to the pizza show. And I talked to the company called Revention. It's a point of sale. Now, from the moment my ex and I were together, we would go to the pizza shows, and they would personally sponsor me $5,000, $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I would do that to help me pay all my things back, for wearing their patch. Because if you go to the show and you see Joe Carlucci at the pizza show, you're like, hey, what do you think of Revention? I'd be like, you have to get it. Okay. Hey, Joe told me to get it. Here's $30,000.
Yeah.
Here's this. And they would buy it. So 2014, I go to the show, or 15, right before we open, and I sit down with the owner. I say, listen, all I need is one desktop, one printer. I said, that's all I could afford. How much would it be? He looks at me and he goes, and he looks at the sale guy to the left. He goes, give him anything he wants on the house, everything. I just broke down in tears. She's like, you've done what you've done for our company and what you represent, and the World Pizza Champions. Goes back to Tony, believing in me. I said, are you serious? I don't. He said, nope. So now I need an oven. I probably got to use Baker's Pride, which is an old deck oven. I walk by Mariforne, which is an Italian company. He pulls me aside and he says, we need you and want you to have our oven.
Mm-hmm.
He says, how much is that oven? He's like, I don't know. He's like, $20,000. I'm like, I can't afford that. He said, what can you afford? I said, I don't know. So I called my friend in Baltimore. He says, you need that oven. They're 20 minutes from my house. Tell the guy I'll have a check in a week there. Really? Certified. I said, he said, don't worry about paying back. We'll figure it out. If you just need an oven. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, tell him I'm calling him. He knows, they know each other. Because my friend's place, Three Brothers, is pretty big out there in Baltimore. So now I need seats. Now I need chairs. I don't have no money. My friend from Jersey City is sending me money just to get gas. Someone started a GoFundMe, and I'm like, don't do that. And customers that come in today, in 30 seconds, put $1,000 in, and they were there to paint it. My old employees' parents put money in and painted the whole place for me and built the countertops and everything. And I'm like, so I start getting these loans like a total moron. Republic Finance, 40% interest. Oh, $5,000. You pay like $9,000.
Right.
So I'm racking it in now, right? Thinking, okay, I got this money because they're right next to the store. So now I have some money to open it up. But now I'm behind the 8 ball again. And I'm working 7 days a week, and still have that like it's just my personality. People, if you don't know me, I'm an asshole. People say, and I don't. I want you to think. I don't like anything I do for any of that. When I do things for the homeless, the downtown rescue mission, I tell them, do not post a picture. I don't want nobody to know what I do. I don't care what. I mean, I'm talking about it now, but like, off the air, I could tell you how much food I cook, but I don't care. I don't care what people think of me. I really don't anymore. I try to teach my daughter that. So, so I open up, and it's pretty good, not great, and I'm still that. I don't want to say arrogant, because maybe arrogant, maybe I was just an ass still, and it was working. It still doesn't right. I was working 7 days a week. Never saw my daughter. Would take her to the restaurant. She was probably 15. She was 3. Worked 7 days a week. Then I'm like, I'm not doing this. So I'd close Mondays. And I mean, I was working lunch to dinner. I was making money, but I wasn't making money, So then it started getting better. And
at lunch to dinner means you're in there by 8. You got to do prep.
About 9.
9.
Yeah.
And then you're there till probably midnight.
Yeah. 7 days a week.
Okay.
Are we okay on time?
Oh, there's no.
Okay.
We have no hard stop.
So I hook up with a guy from ADP, which is my payroll company.
Yeah.
And we come real tight. And I had paid a little of that Republic Finance down, and at Mariforne, where I got the oven, I wanted to get into the food truck business. Like on the side of doing that, I was trying to think of multiple things to do.
Is that the oven, by the way?
Yeah, that's it. I bought 2 of those. One was on a food truck.
Okay.
So that's the Athens store.
Okay.
And the lady you see in the back actually was like family friends now. Her name's Lupi. Her and her husband, Francisco, followed me to every location and helped me.
Nice.
I could tell by her hair.
Okay.
So I take out another loan like an idiot. And I think it was like 15 grand. And then I started doing credit card loans. Like, oh, we can give you don't have good credit?
Yeah.
Oh, you can get money off your credit card. But you're old. Yeah. Once they get you, they get you.
Yeah. Cash advance.
Uh-huh. So I started doing that. And after 2 years, I'm just behind. And I had this guy coming in a lot, and he owned some businesses in town, and I approached him about like partnering up because I thought he was real sharp. So he says, I can't, my money's tied up. I have my son. I was like, okay. So his son comes down. I'm like, this is great. He's like, I'll handle the books. I'll handle the taxes. Awesome. I'll just have to make pizzas. We'll make a great team. Once again, Tony's like, you trust too many people too fast, man. So I'm like, no, this is going to work. This guy, all he has to do is the books. That's what he does in his other business. Mm-hmm. Well, I don't get paid for because it just wasn't business. It wasn't the spot, whatever it was. So now $8,000 behind child support. House is 4 months behind payments. Hiding my car, my car in my garage. I have a receipt from the trading post where I went and got a hammer and a screwdriver to get food for my daughter. Because I was down, she's like 4 now,
You traded the hammer and the
Yeah, I really have it. It's like $13. Like okay. I couldn't take the money out of it because I owed people so much money, and I had to always pay my workers, and I always paid my workers. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, what the hell? How do I get myself into this? And I'm like, what am I doing? Am I even that good at what I do?
You're famous Joe.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a name, but what am I? So my daughter's 5. She says to me, I never see you. I said, we're going to change that. So me being like who I am, I said, you know what? Before I go any further, the landlord at that place took a chance on me. He heard my whole story. I had to come up with $6,000, 2 months,
This is the one in Athens off
yeah,
72.
he took a chance on me.
Mm-hmm.
So I got, those crazy loans. But so I said to myself, for me personally, I don't care if I make no money. I'm staying 3 years because that's my lease.
Mm-hmm.
And I owe it to this guy to have to screw him. I got it. I got to do it. So I said to Valentina, now I had the food truck.
Yeah.
So I said to Valentina, we're going to change that.
Where were you taking the food truck, by the way? What was your route?
Not a lot. It was sitting there a lot.
Really?
Until
Okay.
two of the greatest people that you need to get on this show
Okay.
and smartest business people I know, Stan and Tina. Stan Stenson.
Stinson. Okay.
They own Earth and Stone.
Oh, yeah.
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 They came in. They were opening in 805, Campus 805. They were on the Arsenal. They're the original people that started the food truck on the Arsenal. And a quick story. Mm-hmm. I had a customer in 2010 walk into Valentina's and said, hey, I got a great idea for you to kill it. He said, man, if you got a food truck with a pizza oven on it, we go on the Arsenal. I'm like, you're crazy. Stan and Tina did it. So they come in, and I kind of told them what's kind of going on, and they literally, held my hand, and when my lease was up, I transitioned into the food truck, and they got me on the Arsenal. They got me weddings. They got me everything. I'm indebted to both of them forever. So now I'm getting out of the Athens store, still broke, still not making money. Kind of like, maybe people are right about me. Maybe I can't walk and chew gum. Maybe it's me. And, I always look at my daughter and, what am I going to tell her? I failed. Yeah. Well, Dad, did you get up? She didn't say that, but like, if I'm going to tell my daughter, when you fail forward or fall forward, get up.
Right.
Don't give up. What am I going to tell her if I just give up? What is she going to, look at Dad and be like, and I had to sell my daughter's bed, couch, washer, dryer. She's 9 now and remembers it. She's like, are we poor? I'm like, no, I just am minimalist. I buy stuff, sell it, I'm like, no, we're not poor. From age 1 to like 4, I literally just kept rewrapping presents. Just me and her on Christmas. I'd get her on Christmas. It was lonely, depressing. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I put a gun in my mouth.
Really?
Yeah. Now, while I was at Athens, something changed. It changed, and it changed my life forever. I had some people come in, invite me to church. Jamie Cooper.
Jamie Cooper?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's an old guy. Thinks he's like famous, but he's just a local celebrity. But he's a good guy.
Okay.
So they take me to Lindsay Lane. And, I grew up Catholic, so I'm like, what are these freaks doing? But I enjoyed the message. So I meet with the pastor one day, and he's like, would you get baptized? And I'm like, no. He's like, why? I'm like, because I don't know anything about God. He's like, well, do you believe that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior? I'm like, absolutely. He's like, that's all you need to know. I'm like, really? So I get baptized.
Okay.
And my daughter, I'm coming around the water, and my daughter is like, you did it, Daddy. And I told Dusty, I was like, listen, if I'm going to do this, like, I need to do it. So I need to be in a small group. I got into a men's prayer group that met every Saturday morning at 5 a.m., which I'm going to start another one at Valentina soon. And any religion is welcome. Anybody listen? Any. Anyway, and changed a lot in my life. I went to Lindsay Lane for 3 years, hard. Sat in the front, took notes. Dusty McLemore, just connected with. And I don't know. People say I have a servant's heart. I don't know if that's true, but when you lose and you lose and you lose and you lose, and people, I personally think people like to see me lose. I still do.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. But that's just my thought process. But as I'm going to Lindsay Lane, I met my ex-girlfriend. She owns a local business. You should get them on, Stemmenstein. So she started helping me on the food truck. And I don't know and she's a good person. We're not together anymore, but I don't know anybody on the face of this earth that would literally go to Mississippi and sell one pizza, or sell here and believe in you like she did. Like literally. Like she has to be crazy. Because I didn't believe in myself. I failed my daughter because I don't wake up every day. That's my biggest failure in life. Not that I want to be with her mother, but I'm a dad girl.
Yeah.
I love being a dad. It's the greatest thing that ever happened to my life. No award-winning pizza, no championship, no TV show.
Sure. Nothing.
There's not enough hours, seconds, and minutes in the day that I could be around my daughter.
Right.
So I do the food truck. Santina get me into it, and I'm going everywhere, and still in debt from now Athens store because my old partner didn't pay the taxes. So now I'm really screwed.
This is the son of the guy. He does this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hadn't got paid in a year. I'm hitching a truck, a 10,000 pound trailer with a car that hasn't been paid in 4 months that I have to hide in my garage. I'll never forget this.
So they want to impound it.
Mm-hmm. I went home one day and I saw the letter on the door and I knew what it was. My power shut off. It was a Friday. I wasn't getting my daughter. No, it was a Friday, and I told the mother, I can't get her this weekend. I had no money. It was like $600. I mean, I probably had more bank balance fees than people have lives. And I went to the prayer group, and I just Saturday morning, I slept in the house dark. I told them what happened. Went to UAH for some kind of event with the food truck. Came home, and my power was on. Don't know who did it to this day, but it was on. That was the men's prayer group was like I never asked for money. No one gave me money other than help me with that, but it was a release.
Yeah.
And then Sunday morning go to small group and then go to church. And it was the only thing other than my daughter from like driving my car off a cliff. Still going to the pizza shows. People being like, can I have your autograph? Oh my, business people that have 5 stores thinking that I'm the second coming of Jesus. And I'm like, I'm a failure. Talk to Tony all the time. Just said, you know what you're doing. Trust yourself. Believe in yourself. Just believe. Stop. You don't need anybody. You know how to do what you do. You do it great. And just, never. My mom knew about things, but no, didn't.
Didn't have the full story.
Still owe all this child support. Feel like a low life dad. Owe $6,000-7,000. They're living in Hampton Cove. I'm living in my house. I'm not losing my house because my house is not for me. It's for my daughter.
Yeah.
I had a fight. Not borrowing money from anybody. Just couldn't get really another job because with the pizza truck, I just, so I bring in another partner. Right? This partner's like, oh, we're going to get you a new truck. We're going to do this. Great guy though. Great guy. He's like, I'm going to do all the events. I'm going to book them for you. Well, that didn't work out right because we're going to Mississippi. We're going 2 hours away. And
not cost effective and time.
Stan and Tina are just throwing me weddings.
Yeah.
Throwing me weddings. They're throwing money at me all the time, helping me. Once again, I have partners. Now, mind you, when I was in Athens the first year, even though we weren't making money, I never owed any taxes. So, because I had a good bookkeeper and accountant. I know what I can do, and I know how to create a team that knows what to do. I have no pride. I'm not afraid to say I'm bad at something and make a team to help me.
Sure.
So now we're doing the food truck. So this partner comes in and, we're doing all this and, I get a call like, yeah, we're just going to let you know that they're coming to pick up your truck. And I'm like, oh, shit. I have to what am I going to do with this thing? So I put it in the garage for like 2 days, and I was like, listen, I'll get it. They're like, well, it's too late. I'm like, well, you're not getting it. What do you mean it's too late? Either you owe this much. And then I got my ex going like, your interest is growing. Because it doesn't matter if you don't work. You always have to pay child support.
Sure.
So we go back and we're like getting along better because of Jesus in my heart. And I just gave up fighting. I'm done fighting. I don't want to fight with anybody. And then I look at it like this. We didn't and I understand people have different circumstances when they cheated or stole, whatever. That wasn't the case. We were oil and water. I'm this crazy New York ADHD, and she's structured architect, Korean, not architect, a government engineer. So we go to court, and to lower it. I went to lower it, and she's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna have them open your books." I'm like, "Please let them open that mess." So I was like, "I don't know what you think." She's like, "Oh, sell your house." I'm like, "I'm not selling the house. I just sold the bed and the couch. Literally, I'm not selling it. I'll sleep in nothing. That's for my future, for my daughter." So
there's some suspicion that there is some
money, I'm like,
money you're hiding away.
Where do you think it is?
You have the means to pay.
Like
you're not
where?
paying. Right.
Like I am struggling. I have no family here.
Right.
So we end up like talking through it all, and we go up, and I don't know if you've ever been there, and hopefully you don't have to go there. It's the saddest place on earth because a man and a woman can spend 30 seconds having sex.
Yeah.
Kids have to pay for it for the rest of life because adults are really not adults. They're immature kids that are older. So I'm watching these parents, father not paying, people fighting. We go up to the judge, and he's like, "Did you guys agree on something?" We said, "Yeah." And he looked, and he's like, "And you guys get along?" And we're like, "Yeah, for the most part." And he was like, "This is crazy." And I had to pay the current back plus the interest. And she's like, "Well, I don't want him to pay the interest." And they're like, "Well, it's DHR. It doesn't matter." So on the side, she's like, "All the prescriptions that I get, I'll take off of because you'll never catch up. You'll never catch up."
Right.
It was, So I just started working my ass off. And when I did a pizza show, I would just pair 2, 3, whatever I could. And mind you, I'm a thinker. Here I am, and this is 39, 40 maybe. Wasn't too long ago. Look at me. I have no negative bank account. Horrible credit. What am I doing with my life? And I'm 40. I'm like, no family here, and I'm just like, everybody thinks you have the greatest pizza, but, obviously I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe these investors were right about me. Maybe everybody was right. When you sit alone and you think, and then you're like, what people want to see you fail, or, and I do believe that in all my heart, that people, not that they want to see me fail, people thrive off other people failing, and people like to see negativity. No one, that's just the world we live in. That's reality.
Yeah.
It really is. They're not happy. People make mistakes. I was the biggest jerk in this town at sometimes, but people don't like to see that sometimes. They're jealous, I'm an open book. You could sit here and ask me anything, and I have nothing to hide, and I want my daughter to know everything. So anyway, now I'm doing the food truck, and we have a commissary off Nick Davis that crackheads go to. I mean, a gas station that I don't know how God in God's name is even approved by the health department making dough. Like we cleaned it up, like the kitchen, but so I'm like,
is that down off like Jordan Lane?
No.
Davis?
I'm talking in Athens.
In Athens.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm over there. And I'm just like running around like a chicken. My ex-girlfriend's helping me. I'm like, she's got a successful business. They're a stamp in the town, like business of the year. The hell am I doing?
Yeah.
And it just, I didn't even have the passion anymore for making the pizza because it was so grueling. It was so hard. Rain, no heat. I had no air conditioning. My daughter was here. She'd tell you, we'd be sweating at 110 degrees. In winter, freezing. Going on the Arsenal, pouring rain, selling 10 pizzas. I mean, I was living day to day, week to week. Still having to pay all these bills. So the partner I had, I didn't take a paycheck again on this because the business wasn't making the money. We had so much debt from what he did, which it's just not a smart business move. I still to this day don't know why. He bought into the food truck and assumed the debt from the Athens store from my old partner.
Oh, wow.
And I told him, don't do that. Just go buy a food truck and I'll go half with you and I'll pay you somehow.
Right.
But he said no. So he assumed the debt of that guy. That guy got off on everything. So now we're like, I'm going to the pizza shows once a year, and I'm, getting paid for that. And people are like, hey, how's it going? And I'm always have a different story.
Did that give you a boost? I mean, for your ego, your self-confidence, to be good at something and for people to chant your name?
I don't need that. Nah, I mean, as much as you think I have an ego, or we all have an ego.
No, but just to get through, right? These tough times.
Oh,
to pull yourself up.
It would give me like
a boost,
a hope, like faith, like, okay, I can do this. What am I doing wrong? And so in 2018, we did the food truck, and then I said, we moved the food truck to where our current location is.
Okay.
They wanted $500 a month, and it was empty. All we had is a Hobart mixer and a refrigerator, and that's all we needed. So it was right behind my house. It was perfect. So we're doing it with my partner, and Earth and Stone, God bless them, still giving me weddings, mentoring me, telling me what to charge. I'm like, Stan, I'm kind of afraid. He's like, do it. Didn't blink an eye. I said, okay. I finally, light bulb starting to click.
Sure.
So, dating this girl at the time, and she was like helping on the register. She'd do all that. And she went everywhere with me for nothing. Tips maybe, but nothing. And then, did that, and then COVID hits. And
so you've called it, it's called Valentina's at this point.
No,
it's not.
It's called Joe's World Famous Wood-Fired Pizza.
Okay.
We changed the name again.
But it's in the location
where Valentina's is
now.
Yes.
Okay.
So, COVID hits. And right before COVID, I have this gentleman, he has a veterinarian place in Decatur. And he works for one of the engineering companies. And I had tried out for, what show is that? Hell's Kitchen in Nashville. And I made it. So I went on a Saturday. And we were supposed to cater the opening of his veterinarian shop. Well, they dropped the ball on it. Yeah. So I go to the Hell's Kitchen and I make a chicken a la Carlucci, which is chicken in a brandy sauce with peppers. Nothing but special. They like it. So they bring me into the next one. So I'm there all day. And you have to go up and you have to tell them about yourself.
And your girlfriend's with you.
This is pre-girlfriend.
Okay.
I didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't have a girlfriend for like 5 years.
Okay.
No girlfriend.
Okay.
And they say, tell us about yourself. And I said, well, I haven't had sex in 3 years. I'm a 2-time Guinness World Record holder and blah, blah, blah. And they were like, we want you back. So long story short.
This guy's perfect.
Long story short, I made it to the clip where Fox watched it.
Okay.
But never got it. Now, let me just back up a little because I missed one thing. So while I was at Athens store, I got a call. And the guy was like, hey, we're doing this new show called Snoop and Martha. You know, we need a pizza thriller.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So would you come out? I said, yeah. So they remembered me. No, I did that show, right? And met Martha, Snoop, 50 Cent, Bella Thorne. And I was cleaning up on the set. And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm cleaning the flour. They're like, you're the talent. And I'm like, who, me? I'm a pizza guy. So I got real close with them on that, right? They just, because I wasn't high maintenance. I was easy.
With the production staff?
Yes.
Or with Snoop and Martha?
Well, with them too. I could have went to Snoop's trailer. I just didn't decide to. You know, he was like inviting everybody. But the producers are the ones that, if they like you. Because once they do one show, they do another show, do another show, do another show. You know what I mean?
Just keeps going from there. That's Hollywood, man.
So that show airs, and then like second year into the Athens store, I get a call, and the guy's like, hey, do you remember me from Snoop and Martha? And I was like, yeah. He's like, are you still throwing pizza? And I was like, yeah. He's like, all right, I got a gig next week, and you know Ryan, the Asian kid on Nickelodeon.
Oh, I don't know.
He opens toys, whatever.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So he's like, yeah.
I know who you're talking about.
Okay, so my own fault. I wait 2 days, and I call him back. Should have called him back the next day. He said, oh, we got somebody from L.A. Because my daughter's mother was like, if you get that show, you will be Dad of the Year. Because Valentina liked it then. Call Tony. He's like, because Tony has an agent, legit. And he's like, yeah, I took it. He's like, they called me. He's like, I have to do it from my agent didn't want me to, but.
I was going to guess it was Tony.
He's like, but my son, you know, loves it. So I'm like, all right, wasn't meant to be. And I don't know why I did this one day. I was like, God, just give me one more chance on the show. I don't know. I just, you know.
Sure.
As God is my witness, the phone rings. That's this true story. And she's like, hey, Joe, this is so-and-so from the F Word. And I'm like, okay. She's like, so we're doing a 10-episode series on Guinness World Records. And we wanted to know, you know, what would you do and how would you feel about going against Tony? I was like, I'd like to bury him alive. And they love that. Yeah. Because I know what they want to hear.
Sure.
They're like, he's my mentor, but, you know, he needs to pass the torch on to me. So long story short, they went with me. I go out there, and they wanted to make sure I could break the record because it's a live show.
I think I have that queued up, too. This is with Gordon Ramsay?
Yeah.
Let me see where I have it. Right there. Let me switch over. There it is.
Yep.
Okay.
You sure we're good? I feel like I'm talking too much.
Oh, no, dude. Your episode, man.
So,
Rogan goes 3 hours.
I love Joe.
So we'll
I'd love
do
to get on that one. My friend Eric Anders. He's an MMA fighter.
Yeah.
He was just on it.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll call Joe this afternoon.
Yeah, call him. Tell him.
I'll text him.
Yeah. So, so I go there to do the show, and it was for the largest pizza stretch. And I have a friend out there, go to his place to make the dough. And they're like, you can do this, right? I'm like, yeah, I do it every day. They're like, you nervous? I'm like, no, not at all.
Right.
So the day of, they put me in a room with like literally the president, executives, whatever you want to call them, of Fox. I'm in a room, and they're like, you want a drink? And these people, I'm like, in my t-shirt, I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, I'm just like, you know, nervous, but not nervous really. Because I love the camera. I don't get nervous around there. I love pressure.
They want to give you a drink before you're supposed to go out and break a record?
Yeah. So I meet the Guinness guy. And then he tells me like what the rules and everything. And then I go in the backstage. I just get on knees and pray. And then I was allowed just to tell people what was going on. I couldn't really indulge in it.
Sure.
So
until it aired.
Well, it was live.
Oh, it was live.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was live. I said I'm going on in 5 minutes. It was a live show.
Oh, I say okay.
So
you weren't allowed to tell anybody leading up to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Gordon Ramsay comes up to me. It's the first time I met him, and he's like, "Are you nervous?" I was like, "No." He's like, "Good, because it's about 5 million people about to watch you."
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh shit." Well, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
So I was like, "Oh man." So we go out there, and there's 2 does, and they're like, and I had to pick one of them. And I pick one with, and before that, the producer's like, "Can you throw it?" I said, "Absolutely." But do you want me to break a record or throw it in the air? They're like, no, break the record. We need you to break the record. Because it looks bad if they send me out there. So I start stretching it, and I'm like, oh, shit.
You picked the wrong one.
Yep, it was a hole. So I've been doing this my whole life, and everybody out there is just hammered, cheering you on.
Right.
So I crushed the record, and
it was by like 30. You were like at 72 centimeters. And I think
like
the previous was 42.
Yeah, something like that.
Annihilated it.
So I break the record. Gordon high fives me. I go back to the hotel by myself. Call my daughter. Go home. The Athens store was packed. I got in, and my partner literally ran out.
Wow.
Like didn't even stay to help me. So, so when I'm doing now back up to the food truck, I get a call from the producers of MasterChef Junior.
Okay.
And they're like, "Hey, we're doing a pizza episode. Gordon Ramsay wants to know if you would come out and throw a pizza." I was like, "Absolutely." So they call me back the next day. They're like, "It's not going to work out. We have a tight budget." I was like, I'll fly myself. I'll figure it out. I'll stay in the street hotel." They're like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yes." So I stayed in like the worst area of LA. The worst area of LA. Like,
yep.
It was like $40 a night in the room. And I go to the show, and as we're on stage, because we're filming this one, Gordon Ramsay like comes over to my ear and says, "I really appreciate what you did for me." Now, I don't know at this time that he's the producer of the show.
Wow.
So their budget was all for MasterChef. That's why MasterChef Junior didn't have any money. And I just said, "Oh, anytime." That's all I said. And then I did it, and got back on a plane and came home. And my process and my thought of this is to make a relationship. If they ever do anything with pizza down the road, he'll think of me.
Right.
I don't think he might remember me, but I mean, I'm just probably not. But I'm thinking of the producers too as well. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it doesn't air for like a year anyway. But I know it's gonna, whenever it does, it's good publicity. Mm-hmm. So now we go to the food truck, and I go to my friend that I was telling you about. In February, before the coronavirus happened, I went to his house. We went to have some pizza in Hartselle called Pizza Ed. Great pizza, great people. And this guy was always like, we were always talking about investing in me, or, he was always going to do something, wanted to do something, loved to make pizza. And I told him my story. Like, I think I want to make this a pizza place here. The rent's dirt cheap. And he's like, "Well, write everything down and figure out what you need." So I'm like, "Oh, okay. I don't know how to do that, but I can figure it out." So we keep in touch, and I went to his house another Friday night, and I said, "What do you think?" He said, "What do you think it's going to cost?" I said, "I don't know, about maybe $50,000, which is incredibly cheap to open a pizza place." Mm-hmm. He says, "Your risk to reward is amazing. If you hit it, you're going to hit it big. But if you don't, it's not that bad." And I'm thinking, well, I keep failing. What else? What, just going to, what's the worst that could happen at this point in my life?
Right.
Like, someone's going to say, "Oh, he failed again. He failed again." Like, I really worry about what other people think? No. So let them. So now I'm like, okay, but I don't have $50,000. I have $50.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
not going to my mom, because I finally had paid off the second mortgage for her. And I still owed child support, catching up on that. I'm like, I don't want a partner. The guy that is on the food truck, at the time wanted to get another food truck with his daughter. And I was like, well, I want to open this one day. He's like, okay. Because I'm done with having partners.
Mm-hmm.
Like, unless I'm like 80% in control, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, well, maybe one day, because I don't have the money. I don't have the credit. COVID hits. And my life changes forever. Because the shutdown, my ex is like the mayor of Madison. And for 7 days a week, for 2.5 months, lunch and dinner, I went to every subdivision in North Alabama. I couldn't go to your subdivision here twice in 8 weeks. Couldn't, too booked, because we were on lockdown. Mm. So I go from 11 to 1 and 5 to 7. Crushed it. $60,000 on a food truck on pizza.
Wow.
In 2 months. Something like that. It might have been less. I don't know. So me saving every dime, every penny, selling what I had in my house, save up money, all this money. And things start opening because, the summer, but I'm losing weddings, losing concerts in the park. So the food truck's kind of like going from that all the way back, then dropping. Going to places with my daughter, those same subdivisions, 120 degrees. I have pictures that we took in the food truck. No air in my car that I still have.
Right.
No air. 10 pizzas. Back to what am I doing? Have this money.
Yeah.
Scared.
Right.
Because am I going to fail again?
Yeah.
So I talked to a friend in New York. He's like, what are you waiting for? Just do it. Just do it. Who cares? Just do it.
Take the money and then start a restaurant.
I said, this is not the best location. It's in the middle of cornfields. My ex said, it doesn't matter. This place is a gold mine. Just do it. Only person said, do it. I'm telling you. She said, you'll kill it there. I'm like, you think? So I call up Mariforne. Can you give me a deal? Can you help me out? I'm in my New Yorker. I'm, wheeling and dealing things.
Yeah. This is the mayor of
Mariforne, the oven.
Okay.
So my partner and I sell the food truck. We now owe taxes on that business because he didn't do it right. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, man. What the? He's like, I can't find a good accountant. I'm like, you told me you were going to do it.
Yeah.
So we owed money on that. And I'm just like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
Like, am I really good at what I do? Like,
this is only 2 years ago.
Yeah. I'm like, what am I doing? My daughter's probably like, coming home, we don't have a couch. Coming home, we don't have a TV. Like, literally, we don't.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, so before I was going to open it, because I have a lot of respect for Stan and Tina and Earth and Stone, and I never forget where I came from and people who did things for me. A lot of people could say a lot of things, that I'm an asshole or this guy's arrogant, but I called Stan and Tina up. Or I text them and I said, what do you think? I'm going to open 10 miles from you. You know what they said?
Do it.
When do you need us there to do friends and family? Guess who was there making all the pizzas? Not me. Stan and Tina. Go out and talk to your people. They did it for 3 hours straight. I needed that blessing or I probably wouldn't have done it because I had way too much respect for them. Way too much. Just of everything they've done. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And my theory or my thinking on pizza, when people say, oh, your pizza's better. No, it's not. It's different. Tell me how Domino's sucks if they have 500 locations or Little Caesars. They don't suck.
Yeah.
You could learn from them. Not everything is they suck, you suck, this is better. I don't believe in that.
Yeah.
you know?
They've had to adapt over the years. And
they
the
have.
Pizza Huts,
Well,
right?
They're still around.
Yeah. You got
Right?
to add in sometimes wings. Was it cheesy bread or garlic
But they're
knots?
doing it.
Yeah.
Right? So
Right.
what the hell do I know?
Right.
I can't even get one opening. So who am I to open my mouth and say someone else sucks?
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I have no business. So I open it and not thinking of anything other than, okay, I'm only opening at night because it's in the middle of nowhere. I'm closing Sundays and Mondays. Spend time with the family, my daughter, you know. And we'll open at 4 o'clock. Close at 8, 8:30. Weekends we'll do 12 to 9 because Friday maybe lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time of any store I've opened, one, I had no partner.
Right.
2, everything in that store was paid for. The only problem was I opened with a negative bank account in my personal.
Mm.
I used every single friggin' dime I had. I mean, everything. Anything I had to sell, get rid of. So I have negative money. Literally. But I'm trying to be like, okay, I don't owe anybody for this. And my friend owned the Cuban, you remember the Cuban Cafe?
Mm-mm.
Okay, it closed last year, but he's like, you don't realize, Joe. He's like, I have a second mortgage on my house. He's like, you're already ahead.
Yeah.
You're already ahead, you know? So I open it and, you know, it did okay in the beginning. It was slow coming. You know, I had people, this is just how, and when I say this, who's ever listening, like I mean this with the deepest respect.
Right.
But there's a lot of ignorant people around the world and in Madison. And I would have literally people walk up to the pizza line on a Friday night and say, are you going to fail again?
Jeez.
How did you make it here? Why would you pick I had friend, this is the worst spot.
Right.
You're in the middle of nowhere. Just kept my head down, trying a different approach. Keep your mouth shut, Joe, because obviously when you speak, you screw up. And I said, well, I'll just go work at Walmart. If it doesn't work this time, I'm done. This was it for me.
I think a funny response.
Yeah, nothing against people working at Walmart. I was just like,
sure.
But I was, you know, part of me wanted to tell them where to go. I mean, Friday night, packed. My ex-girlfriend owned Stemmenstein. She would come in tears because people would go into her bar and say, what the hell is he doing opening over there? And I'm like, let him talk. We'd have 2-3 hour waits because I only had one oven, that Mariforne. That's all I had. Because I didn't think the business was going to be like it is. Call Tony. Keep your head down. Keep it simple and stupid.
Yeah.
Simple and stupid. Let's keep it simple and stupid.
The KISS perspective. Yeah, keep it simple, stupid.
Simple. Let's be Chick-fil-A. What's Chick-fil-A? Well, what does Chick-fil-A do? Chicken.
Yeah.
Do they do burgers?
No.
Exactly. So let's do pizza and let's do it the best in the world, or try to be the best. Let's not do pasta.
Right.
Let's not do chicken parm. Let's take a different approach, Joe. If you want chicken parm, come on over to the house Sunday. Me and Valentina will make it for you. But let's just stick what we know better than anybody, or passion more than anybody. So did that, and I met with Erica Despain, who's all things Madison, and she did a little article, and it got more press and more coverage, and people still came in. People would say, what the hell are you doing? For 1 year, I couldn't afford a sign.
Right.
Had no sign, still open. So I knew I had to do something because it wasn't big enough. So I wanted a patio. So I'll go to you sure we're okay on time?
Yeah, we're good, man.
So I go to the landlord, and they're like, no, you can't do a patio. I'm like, why? They're like, well, because you'll be gypping us. Now, they're Indian, so Indians don't typically are landlords. So I'm like, how am I gypping you? It's outside. If it rains, like.
Right.
So.
I'm the one losing out.
Yeah. So it's like, so my friend from New York's like, just pay them. I'm like, well, they sleep and their bank account goes up. They're not going to want money. I went over there and I said, I'll give you $5,000 cash. They said, okay, you can build it. So I had to pay to do the patio.
Wow.
Now I call the building department. They're like, if it's wood, you need a permit. If it's pavers or concrete, it's landscaping. Okay. So I have to sign like a personal guarantee when I leave that I'll knock down the concrete. But they didn't realize how nice the patio's going. Still, the patio's built. I have a guy build it. I buy real nice furniture. He makes a nice fence. Man, are you doing okay here? That guy's not going to make it. Facebook. Oh, he's going to fail again like he did on County Line. Oh, I mean, I had to get off Facebook because, I did a Trump Biden pizza 2 years ago. And it said, who do you got, America? I didn't pick a side. And a lady posted, I'll never step foot in your restaurant. And I'm like, long story short, the news came out and did a story on it. And,
really?
And people in the comments were like, have you not been following him for the last 10 years? He does pizza art. He does it for a lot. He's done a lot of people. Like, he's not picking a side. So they're like, oh, he stole money. He embezzled. He screwed this person. So I started getting into with people. Like, I said, you know what? Why don't you be a man, come down, have a pizza with me, and tell me who I did and what I did. No one ever showed up because people are keyboard tough guys. They just want to talk.
Sure.
So I had to like refrain from all that because it's just, you don't want to get into a keyboard match with people and then
assassins on the keyboard.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Then they meet you. Oh, I was just, you know what?
Yeah, it wasn't like that. Yeah, but you said it.
They back down, especially when they look at you like, this guy actually might be able to tune me up pretty quick.
So everybody thought I was crazy for opening COVID.
Yeah.
And, lose the food truck, got rid of it because it was that. Now I'm paying debt on the old thing. I'm paying it, my partner. And I met a teammate of mine named Derek Sanchez. He's a doctor in Texas, and he's won four world titles. Mm-hmm. So right before Valentina's opened, he invited me to Texas. And he's really into the science of pizza. So I went to his house, opened his house to me, and he's like, listen, the Italians don't know much about pizza. He's like, it's the French, it's the science, the bacon. So he showed me this whole different method, and I called Tony. He's like, yeah, it's a great idea. Do it like that. And it brought my pizza to a whole nother level. And he's like, you're going to win a world title. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not there yet. So we go to Vegas 2 years ago, and I placed first in the Southeast and like fifth overall. And I was like, and we're getting press. Now I need a manager.
Wow.
Yeah, now we're getting busy. And I'm like, this place and the guy that was my mentor is coming in going. And for someone that's successful and kind of know my road, because I've known him for about 10 years, to tell you I'm proud of you,
yeah,
it just means the world.
Sure.
I mean, and I'm such people say I'm cheap, I'm minimalist, I don't like spend money, so I'm saving everything. And he's like, you're doing everything right. He's like, I can't believe this. You're doing it, but no help from anybody this time.
Yeah.
Like actually believing in yourself. So, I do the patio, and then last year I wanted to do a mural. When all that stuff was going on with Black Lives Matter, the cops, just everything in the country was going to hell in a handbag. My friend Derek, I wanted to get Dave Portnoy here from Barstool.
Yeah.
So I found an artist in California, and I want to do a mural of Portnoy on the back wall, and some other people. So I called Derek, who's a big Christian and just another great friend, mentor, brother, and he's like, you could do so much more. He's like, you can make an impact. You can make, something that, people come to see, like, and reflect and get it. So, the artist lays that out on a projector screen. He comes in from LA, and I was like, where's Portnoy? We need Portnoy on there. And he's like, you can't have Portnoy on that wall.
Uh-oh. Sorry. Let me click off that, and then I'll set it back up because I know you have Portnoy on the front.
I took him off. I'll tell you why.
Okay.
So he's like,
so real quick for those listening, I'm showing the mural, and I'm actually going to step through this picture by picture after he sets it up. But it's the mural on the side of the restaurant that is quite fascinating.
Thank you.
But then we'll go back into it. But go ahead.
So he says, you can't have Portnoy on that wall. And what do you mean? He says, look who's on that wall. Those are some people that made changes in our country. I'll find a spot for him, but not on the wall. And I'm like, And the artist is so smart. He's actually coming back next Friday. Finally got him for Portnoy. Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, Helen Keller, Charles Barkley, Nick Saban, all are from Alabama.
Yeah.
Anthony Bourdain was one of my judges on the TV show The Taste, so it was like a tribute to him. I didn't even know about the hummingbird and the state flower. Mm-hmm. Most people don't, and then the military. And
you get the rocket in there.
And the rocket. He did all that. And my view or my idea that I tell people, and most people don't get it until I tell them, is when you look at that, what do you see? What I see is an Asian girl making pizza for black people, white people, blind people, Auburn, Alabama. It doesn't matter because, number one, pizza's the comfort food of America. And number two, let's have a conversation about whatever it is. Because if those people today were sitting at my place eating or looking down at us going, what the hell are we all worried about? Because I don't care what color you are, what race you are, what team you like. Just be a human. Be good to each other. And that is the ideal message. And I put 3 white people, 3 black people. I put 3 women, 3 men, 4 men. You know what I mean? So no one could say anything else. And then, thank God for our military that protect us every day. That is the message and the only message. When somebody came by when the artist was doing it, they're like, oh, it's going to be an Alabama wall because he had done
the helmet first.
Well, he had done Bear Bryant first.
Okay.
And then Nick Saban. And then he's like, no. We got to take Bear Bryant down. He said, no, we can't. So then he's like, who else? And I said, Anthony Bourdain. But Rosa Parks, come on. Martin Luther King.
Right.
So when it was finished, I said, man, it's beautiful, but the only reason I brought you here is for Portnoy. So on the front window.
Yeah, I'll pull that up. Keep talking and I'll pull it up.
He did it, and I think he had a couple too many, whatever you want to have, he was doing. I feel like I'm talking too much.
Nah, man. There it is.
Okay, so he finishes it, and I'm like, that doesn't equal like what you did on the wall. And he's like, I'll be back next week. And I'm like, this guy's not coming back. So a customer, takes a picture of it, and it goes viral.
Really?
Yeah, and Portnoy comments on Twitter, this is the greatest thing these eyes have ever seen. So I'm like, oh, he might come. Fast forward 4 months ago, my friend in Jersey City, it's Jersey Pizza Boys, calls me on a Thursday night. He said, I got Portnoy right outside my restaurant about to review me. Send me the picture. I'm like, oh my God.
Send you the picture of him, the mural.
Yep.
Okay.
So I send it to him, and I watched it. I watched the YouTube. You got to watch it.
Yeah.
And at the end, Portnoy goes, I've seen that, and the reason I haven't commented, I know who it is, I know where it is because I don't know if he loves me or hates me. It looks like looks like I'm autistic. So I'm like, I send that to the artist, and I rip it down. I ripped the plywood down, and I put a new plywood, and I finally negotiated with him to come next week to redo it.
He's going to redo it.
And then we're going to really hammer to get him down here again. Talladega's coming up, so I might have a shot. But so that's how the mural came. And then, everybody thought I was insane. Still thinking I'm going out of business. Why would you spend so much money on a mural when you're not going to make it here? I literally had people tell me that.
So is Portnoy a NASCAR fan? He's coming for Talladega?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask you, how do you package together a weekend or events on the calendar that would entice him to come to make it worth his while. Like, okay, I'm going to go to Alabama. I'm going to go and judge Valentina's pizza. But what else am I going to do when I'm there? Talladega.
Valentina's is all you need to do.
That's all you need to do. Good answer.
I'm going to use my arrogance and tell him, challenging and tell him if I want the best in the world, get your ass here.
Set another world record right there?
I don't have enough time to do that.
Okay.
You know, Valentina did that.
She set a record?
On a 1-year anniversary, my daughter's in the kids Guinness Book of World Records for the highest pizza toss.
Oh, that's right. I did hear about that.
Yeah, so we at our 1-year anniversary we did that. That was pretty cool. But no, I think if we get a good pitcher, I can get him. I think I can. I haven't really, rewind a little. This past March when I went to Vegas, I competed again, and I take a different approach. I take it like it's my like I compete serious, and not that other people don't, but I'm practicing months out. I'm writing things down.
What events are there for that? So there's the
traditional,
okay,
non-traditional, which is any toppings you want,
okay,
which I'm doing in Atlantic City in 2 months.
Okay.
Pan pizza, Neapolitan, and gluten-free.
Okay.
So I won traditional. I won my region. I'm in the elevator with my manager. I don't even know I won actually yet. And I thought my pizza was pretty good. I didn't think it was. You never, sometimes you think it's great and you don't. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Last year when I came in 5th, I had a little too much Fiore di Latte, which is fresh mozzarella. I had a little too much, I could tell. So this year I knew in my head what I had to do. So I'm in the elevator. It's a Tuesday night, like 6 o'clock, going down to the lobby. And my friends are the organizers, and they FaceTime me. And I'm like, why? He's like, what are you doing tonight? And I'm like, I don't know. Because I work when I'm there. I get up at like 4 a.m. and I go to the show and help Tony sometimes because he's doing all these shows, like not shows. What do you call it?
Exhibitions? Or?
No, he's like demos. Sorry.
Okay.
He's doing all these demos.
Yeah.
Like he's got like 200-300 people and he's talking about different recipes. So I might get up early and help him. So I'm like, I don't know why, and I thought it was weird that he called and he's like, you should go celebrate. And I'm like, I won the region? He's like, no, Joe, you won the whole thing. I drop my phone and I take my manager and I slam him against the elevator. I'm like, the whole thing. He's like,
you won the whole thing?
He's like, I had to call you. So I'm just like in shock. Like, I can compete another 100 years.
Yeah.
And never win again. It's that hard because there's so many great people. There's so many. So,
well, I feel bad now because you're right. All Portnoy needs is to come to Valentina's because you're the world champion.
Yeah. So
that's it.
That's what I'm going to try to use. So I called Tony first. My daughter first, Tony, and he was like, I think he was happier than me.
Wow.
Because it's just been a long road to get there.
And this was in 2021.
No, this is just
this
4
was this
months
year.
ago.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So now everybody's just like happy for me at the show and my teammates, and I was like, now I have to go against each division winner, non-traditional, Neapolitan, for Pizza Maker of the Year.
Gotcha.
If you win Pizza Maker of the Year, you can never compete again.
Oh.
So I really don't want to win.
Sure.
Because I can't compete in non-traditional. If you win that thing, you're done.
Right.
And I like competing.
Sure.
So, I mean, and they give you a secret ingredients. My pizza was sausage and pepperdew peppers. The secret ingredients was sausage. So I'm like, are you telling me something today? Don't get ahead of yourself, Joe. So I end up coming in second by like 0.3 to an Italian. And I had talked to judges after. They loved my pizza, everything. And I was okay with it. I mean, the only thing I would have won is more money. So I win that, and first and foremost, what I'll do is I got on the mic and turned around and I said, none of this would happen without this guy right behind me. This is more for me, from Tony, and for Derek for letting me into his house and talking at 2 a.m. for 2 hours is just about dough.
Yeah.
We do that like
just
once a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally. water,
Pizza nerd.
pH, yeah. And then I give all the glory to God, thank him for it. And we posted something on Facebook, on our Facebook page. We get home and it's balls to the wall. Like, I'm talking 30 deep at 3 o'clock and we open at 4. Phone ringing off the hook. They send this 18-year-old reporter out that can't walk and chew gum, and they put it on the news, and they end up saying that like I came in second. Like,
oh, no.
You know, do your research. But it didn't even matter because after that, it took on a life of its own, and it's been nothing like that. And then in that process, I had already went to the bank because in the 2 years I had saved a lot. I paid all my debt. I had rebuilt my credit, and there was a lot available. There's a lot a quarter mile from Valentina's. And remember the painter guy I told you about in the beginning?
Yeah.
Well, he owns a metal building that is like a batting cage. And he came to me before Vegas, and he said, you got to think big. I said, I can't get that. He goes, if you don't get it, I'll get it for you. And I'll put it in your name. I said, I don't want anybody to do that for me. He said, just go talk to my banker and try. He said, you don't know if you don't try, Joe. So I was like, all right. I don't think I'm going to get it, you know. So it was Good Friday. I get the call from the bank because they had like questions for me, like, how are you profiting this, and how is your labor so low? I'm like, because I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm the labor.
Right.
I finally figured it out. So they called me and said, you're good to go. And that was on, April, whatever, and Good Friday. And we're going to move forward with you to get the land. And I called the builder up, who's been nothing but a blessing. And then we started, we're still in process of doing everything on that end. But, there's so many people like to be thankful for,
So what's the plans for that?
It's going to be a gelato and a brick and mortar. It's 4,000 square feet with a 700 square feet gelato store separate.
Okay.
And then a drive-through, garage doors, and it's just going to be a bigger store.
But you'll still have the Valentina's.
No, I'm moving Valentina.
You're going to move it. Okay.
And then I'm going to take the Valentina's that I have, and I'm going to make it an upscale wine
Okay.
and craft beer and cigar lounge.
Gotcha.
And I'll have 2.
Okay. So you'll keep the property or that location.
Well, I'm going to try. People still think that we're not going to make it, or and I'm back on social media, but I was off for like 6 months because my new girlfriend's like, "Why are you off social media?" She's amazing and she's super supportive, but I was like, because I know my habits and I know how I can get. I know I could like easily trigger and start getting it into it. It's not worth it. If someone wants to leave me a 2-star, let them. I don't have time to look at that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I just want to I don't even go out to eat sometimes in town. I go with my daughter somewhere else because I don't need people telling me, oh, your pizza's overpriced, or, oh, we love it. I just want to spend time with my daughter.
Isn't it amazing?
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's, I don't think, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to sit here and bash people because without the community and my staff, I don't have a store. Most of my staff gets benefits, and we're starting an IRA.
Nice.
Yep. I want to try to make it a career.
Sure.
And work 40 hours a week, but make a good living. I believe to empower them, not me, because it's not about me.
You'll get so much more out of them,
and
through that.
It's not about me. It's about them, And without them, without the dishwasher, you can't eat pizza. So the host, the phone, I'm as I get older and I see it more. I'm not gonna say I let things go, but I realize, it's not like I had the worst life. Every mistake that has been made in my journey is 1,000% my fault.
Right.
I don't blame anybody. I don't blame the old investors, the people. I made those decisions. No one else. No one put a gun to my head. That's why when people say, "Oh, these employees suck." Well, you hired the employee.
Right.
You interviewed him.
Right.
Did you train him? I tell my staff every day, do we want to be Chick-fil-A or Burger King? The way you can go to China, you can go to Africa, you can go to New Zealand, you go to New York. That Chick-fil-A is the same. They welcome you the same. They thank you the same. I wish I can go apply there just to go through the training. You know what I mean?
I don't. Yeah, I'll just give an example. where sometimes I've never run a restaurant. I mean, I'm a manager, right? I manage big IT programs, but like Cineplanet, I'll just use them as an example. There's something wrong there with the way they do stuff, right? It takes forever to get your popcorn and your drink, and then you go somewhere else, Cinemark, Bridge Street, totally different experience. And it's training, right? And or someone with a different idea to come in or take the comments from the customer and say, we got to fix this. It takes too long. It's too slow. What's going on? And actually, my wife, when we went to Valentina's the other night, you guys I can tell your staff enjoy working there. I can tell there's respect amongst everyone, and they enjoy their job. And there was a movement, just this nice orchestrated movement between going back into the kitchen, the commissary area. Then you come out and your oven is out there kind of with the customers so we can watch you make the pizza. But we both kind of made that comment. It was you just watch your workers do your thing. Everyone knows their job. I don't want to say it's simplified division of labor, right? But hey, just do this well.
And, and
it'll show.
They know that I'm going to sweep a mop at certain nights of the week and I'm going to jump in. Just because I'm the owner doesn't mean, like I tell them, like I'm a father, I'm a boss, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to make mistakes.
Right.
I'm human. I made more mistakes than anybody.
Right.
And like, I'm not here to think I'm better than you or the dishwasher or you're better because you're a server. No. But, I will tell you this. People have definitely gone back to pre-COVID in the sense of, the patience, the way we talk to each other, the way we talk to the service industry people. I witnessed it Friday night. I almost had to ask a guy to leave.
Really?
Yeah, because I have a 15-year-old girl. He said, you told me 20 minutes when fucking 40. I felt like saying, you ever go to the doctor's office and it's 1 o'clock appointment and you get out 1:30? Do you call up the insurance company and go, I'm not paying the copay? Or do you say I'm going to get a new doctor? Because he'd say, yeah, go get a new one.
Right.
It's pizza. Get over it.
Right.
That's the problem with people. But then again, we don't know what's going on when they walk through that door. You don't know if they got cancer, they got divorced, someone died. We don't know. So they're already coming in with a chip on their shoulder. You know what I mean?
What I was going to tell you, like, next time someone comes in and says, oh, you're going to fail, or I can't believe Joe's doing this, right? And they don't know you, right? We'll take this podcast, hand them a thumb drive. So I tell you what, why don't you go listen to this for 2.5 hours? Listen to Joe's story, then come back, and
it's fine. It makes me, listen. Some of it's wanted probably because like I have a saute pan in the back that one of my old employees came back to work for me. And he goes, is this the same one you used to throw in the kitchen and it's dented?
Oh, boy.
I said, yeah, I saved it. I don't throw it anymore. But I just, I think people are afraid to take chances and on themselves. I'm not that person that just wants to stay in a job. I want to some people climb the ladder of success. I want to be the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be there for people and for kids in the community that don't want to go to college, that don't have a trade, that don't know what they want to do after high school.
Yeah.
They might want to get into cooking. They might want to get into baking, but they don't have to go to college because the Joneses told them to do, or their parents did, or look down on them because they don't go to college. Like, what are you doing? You're not going to college. You're just going to work.
Right.
And we live in a society that is all about that. And when you need a plumber, when you need an electrician, it's okay, right? But if your kid wants to do that, are you really okay with it when you got to go to dinner and you got to say, oh, well, he might, oh, really? He's going to be a plumber? He's going to do toilets? He's going to make pizza? He's a pizza guy? But if I said, hey, you're going to get an IRA, a Renchi 401k, you're going to get benefits, you're going to get vacation, and it's going to be a career, and maybe
teach you how to start your own pizzeria.
Maybe I could tell you everything not to do that I did wrong, and maybe we could blow this thing up.
Right.
And give, because my theory is hogs get slaughtered, pigs get killed. I don't want to be a hog. I don't need to be Donald Trump.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's ways to do that, and you got to find the right people. I mean, I've went through a lot of staff, but my staff makes the servers, they make good money, and they enjoy it, like you said. I'll tell you another. Do we have time for a quick story?
Of course.
So this is like totally different, but when I was at the tours, I ended up getting a stalker and she followed me all the way to Madison, and I got a restraining order on her, and she would, real smart older woman, change her profile to my daughter's pictures and my daughter's name. And, that was another reason I was going to say I got off social media, because, you don't know there's crazies out there. So anyway, I have an IP phone. So she would text message the IP phone in Athens. And when we went to court, it didn't hold up. So we had to call the police officer in Huntsville and the detective in Madison to tell the DA, hey, this woman's dangerous. Like, literally. She thought I looked like Sacha Baron Cohen. And it got so out of hand, that's another reason, like, I stay off social media. I stay out because, listen, I'm nobody famous. I'm a pizza guy, won a couple awards. I'm nobody special. But for whatever reason, this mental case thought she had a connection, and, you never know who's out there.
Yeah.
So it's just a funny story I wanted to tell you, because it was like, it followed me for the last 7 years.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's just, through everything. And
let me ask you this. When you became the world pizza champion, do you get to, like, keep that pizza and,
what do you mean?
Bronze pizza? It, or what do you, I don't know what you do. Like,
I have an award.
Well, you have an award, but what do you actually do with the pizza? Like,
no, the judges tried it. It's gone.
It's gone. They ate it all.
Well, hopefully.
I didn't know if they get to keep a memorial piece, something that you...
No.
Like, I don't know what you do to something like that to
no.
put a bunch of formaldehyde on it or
no, because, you don't know if you're going to win. And then what they do is there's 4 judges. They judge it, and then they bring it out to the crowd.
Okay.
And, everybody goes, oh, this is amazing. This is great. My manager, or my ex-manager, who's a close friend of mine, he's got a sharp palate. And he just looked at me, and he's like, this is on. And I don't really have the best of a palate. And I was like, you think? And he's like, yeah, this is
it.
Yeah. I did do a show, and I believe I could just tell you that you can Google it. It's called Best in Dough. It's a competition on Hulu. It will be out September 26th, and I'm a competitor on it.
Best in Dough. Okay.
Wells Adams from The Bachelorette is the host of it. They just announced it on Hulu.
Here, let me try to look for it real quick.
Just Google Best in Dough. But the artist is guaranteed me next Friday he'll be in town, and then he said he guarantees me he'll get Portnoy here.
Oh, nice.
And I'm going to just basically call him out. I'm going to call you out now, Dave. Best pizza in Alabama, best pizza in the world. So we need to get your ass to Alabama.
Hold on, I think I have it.
Yep, there it is.
There it is, Best in Dough.
And if you scroll down somewhere, not on this one, but it'll tell you the competitors. Yeah, I'm
episode 1.
I'm episode 3, I believe.
Episode 103.
I'm world. There it is, right there.
Which one?
106. Episode 106.
Episode 106. Pizza Champs.
Yeah. See.
All right, let's do that again. Let's do that promo again.
Okay.
I'm gonna pull this up. Tell me what you were saying about getting Portnoy here. Best. So Best in Dough is gonna premiere in September. On Hulu.
Yep.
And you are in episode 106. Pizza Champs. Joe Carlucci against Lee Scordo.
Yes.
From Santa Rosa, and Ollie Hayter from Los Angeles. Any familiarity with those guys?
Oh, yeah. I've competed against them in Vegas in the last 10 years.
Oh, one of them's a female, like Lee. Okay. Good friends with them, or associates, colleagues?
I'll tell you this. In Vegas, Leah brought me pepperdew peppers for my pizza.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's what was on your winning formula, right?
Yeah.
The pepperdew?
So,
awesome.
It's a friendly competition, and when you go to these things. But at the end of the day,
well, you want to win.
Yeah, I've been doing this I've been competing 20 years. I competed in Italy, all over the place, and you don't go in thinking you're going to lose, but you don't go thinking you're going to win, but you're not going to lose. Does that make any sense?
I think so.
You know what I mean? And the way I look at it is, if there's 50 competitors, I look at this. 10 don't give a shit. 10 are overrated. 10 didn't really practice. And then you got 20 left that you got to beat. My friend Derek told me, and there's another 10. So you really have to beat like 10 people. And then out of those 10 people, you got to be top 3.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like if you knock it down, like most people when they're competing, just, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to compete. Me, no, I'm like Atlantic City's October 15th and 16th, and I'm already working on my dough and my pizza for that show.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's the best in Northeast. It's not as big as Atlantic City, but not almost on that level. But I mean, I can't go in thinking I'm going to win because I won this one, but I'm not going in like anybody's going to beat me. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, I get you.
But overall, the last 30 years in this industry, I mean, I all the downs I had to this final up, like, and I'm still scared. Like I'm still scared every day. Like I don't want to fail.
Yeah. And
I'm almost to the point where I know I'm not gonna, but I don't want to be to the point where I'll never go back to the way I lived.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to struggle. I'm not going to, everything I'm doing now to the future is for the people that work for me and for my daughter. Like I don't tell everybody like what I went through because, people like when like, let's say your house is beautiful, right? You have a beautiful house, nice car. I have a nice car now. And when you own a business, they don't know the behind the scenes. They just say, "Oh, Joe must be doing great."
Right.
"Oh, wow, you got a new car. Oh, you got a new house." Or, "Oh, you got
just what's present."
What the hell do you know? You have they just, they put this, what's the word I'm looking for? This
false image or like a
persona.
A persona.
Persona like like, why can't you have nice things if you work for it just because you own a business? You don't know what I did the last 10 years, the mistakes. I paid all, people, not that I'm against people. I don't want this whole podcast to sound like that because like I have a chip on my shoulder because I don't want to come across that way. But like I want people out there who are listening that just do it.
Mm-hmm. So
what if you fail? That's the only way you're going to learn. How do you think all these guys did it?
You know what is interesting as you just were talking, right? Like I sometimes feel like there's plenty of things that are just inherent in me. I don't need to read a lot of books to be a good manager or to do a lot of things, right? We all have certain talents and skills, and you might read a book later like, I do all that stuff. I would rather listen to you and be inspired by your story than I'm serious. This is what people on social media are constantly, the little pick-me-up messages you read, and somebody will send you something and it's uplifting.
I listen to what's his name? Every morning I listen. You're making me draw a blank now. He's old. What's his name?
Just like words of wisdom.
No. It's a motivational speaker guy.
Oh, like Tony Robbins?
No, he's older. Les Brown.
Les Brown.
Yeah, he's old. It's the one is you got to be hungry.
Yeah.
And then one was sleeping in my office, and I just listened to that because it resonates with me. Like, if anybody gets anything out of this message, I can care less if they come into Valentina's or not. I really don't. If they like me or not, doesn't, there's enough people that do and enough people that don't. But like, I guess my biggest thing that I learned through this journey was like, I didn't fully believe in myself because I know I'm not the smartest apple in the tree. But I also know now that I have a good attorney, I have a great accountant, I have a good financial team, and I know like they can guide me and lead me, and I have mentors. Like I always said to myself, I know I'm not the smartest person, but if I surround myself with people that are smarter than me and more educated, then I'll grow from them.
Yeah.
So people listening, you don't have to come into Valentina's, but just because you fail 1 time, 10 times, 100 times, I mean, I'm resilient. Like, trust me, like anything I told you today is not an exaggeration. Yeah. I mean, nothing in my house from my couch. I mean, I had food and stuff and hiding my car. Like, it's embarrassing to sit here and talk about it, but at the same time, it's gratifying to me that I got to where I am. And I'm not finished yet. Like, I want to help others. Like, kids that are, less fortunate, or kids that are like have learning disabilities.
You've kind of figured out, I don't want to say you've solved it, but you've applied your life's lessons and your experience. And now, like you said, you're in a good situation.
Yeah, and you have to be humble.
Yep.
Yep. I think you have to be humble, and that's the biggest thing. You got to be like, respect people and respect what you do. Love what you do.
Yeah.
Like, you love what you do. You're great at what you do, talking,
I appreciate it.
No, I mean,
if I could, take from you, the one thing that's hard for me, I don't feel like, Rogan's a kind of guy, he was a celebrity, right? And he's an MMA guy, and he's in good shape. And here I am, like, I've been 22 episodes into this, and every week I'd see my fat self on TV. But
you're not fat.
Well,
the arms are ripped.
I struggle with my weight, right?
So do I. Trust me.
But it's almost I started in high school sports where I was just the dad. So, and I wasn't there. It wasn't about me. It was about the players, right? So I need to do better at kind of. It's not to have to create an alternate persona, but put myself out there a little bit more, right? As not just a host and having a guest on and focus on the guest, but a little bit more about me. Where I would love, but is it too brazen to be like, I'm the number one podcast in Alabama. I'm the number one podcast in Southeast, right? Which is kind of where you had that courage and some bravado early on to be like, hey, I'm a world pizza champion, even before I received the crown, or I'm famous. I'm famous Joe, right? Before he was even famous. So there's a certain level of confidence, though, and there's been a journey since that. There's been a whole lot of stuff that's gone on, but it's always been there. It's always been there, right? And now it's really starting to take not just take root, but blossom right into like, yeah, Joe's actually, he was right. He is going to be famous, and it just took a while, right, to go through all of that and do everything that you had to do to make that a reality. And you are world famous. Now you're the world champion. So what do I got to do to be the number one podcast, right? And
have me on like once every 2 months.
Yeah, and believe that, and like you were saying, you're not going to get people want the salacious stuff, right? They probably want me to say a bunch of things, or you to say a bunch of things, and then social media is going to go nuts, right? To raise your profile, right, and to go viral because you did whatever. Other than just having a really good conversation. Sometimes people buy into that and sometimes they don't. But I do think those would listen, they'll be like, man, that was awesome. I learned so much about Joe and I can't believe it. And that reminds me of my uncle's or my aunt or some life situation, and it meant a lot to them.
I mean, yeah, I think I agree with what you're saying, but just when I met you at the restaurant, was it last week?
Yeah, we came in Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah. I knew that the podcast, you were going to be great just by your personality. I knew this was going to be. I was really excited to do this. Couldn't wait, just because I felt a connection with you. Like I was like, this guy's a natural at what he does. Like you might not even know that, but you were just a natural. Like when you came in, I felt like I knew you for the last 10 years. So I was like, that's an ability that not a lot of people have. That's a niche. And it's a craft that like you have, and you made it very easy today for me to sit back. I mean, obviously, I just babbled on about my life, and and it wasn't like when I let me just reflect and say, like, not in any way, shape, or form was my life miserable or bad. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that had a lot worse than me. Everything that happened from when I was a kid, I mean, to now. But I will say this: coming from a broken family, I think that's huge. I think that plays a huge part. That's why me and my ex are very close, and her husband are all close. We do a lot of things with my daughter as a family. My daughter doesn't even realize how weird, or not weird, but weird, but like unnormal that is to go to dinner, to go to Topgolf, to spend the holidays together, to come do a barbecue. Yeah, where we all hang out. She just had. She went out with my girlfriend when she was in town. Like they had dinner and they all went out. Yeah. But I do think that's a huge part. I think everything happens in the four walls. I am not a believer in any way, shape, or form that, things are different from 20. No, they're not. And if they are, it's what happens in those four walls. We can can't protect our kids so much when they're out in the world, but we can give them the tools, and they're going to fail and they're going to make mistakes. But you can't sit here and tell me that everything, if you, 4 walls, that's where everything starts. Like,
you're right.
Don't get in bed if you don't want to be a parent. Don't do it because the Joneses are doing it, because it's a lifelong thing. And by far, I'm not any way, shape, or form saying I'm a great parent, because I have a long way to go. But I just, I think my mom working her ass off, being a single mom, instilled the work ethic.
Absolutely.
I mean, I wouldn't be working like I was if I didn't see it in her, And when she just came down, and she couldn't believe it, because when I told her the story that I'm telling you, she's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" And I'm like, "Wow, I'm not borrowing money from my mom to get gas. I'm not borrowing my money to." I made my bed. I feel like we make our beds, we should lie in it.
Yeah.
And some of the successful people have struggled to get there. I mean, if you listen to like some of their stories, they, it doesn't come easy, but it's not for everybody. I understand that. Yeah. Just like this podcast might not be, or my personality, because I come on very strong. I know that. I realize that, but I'm 46. I can't change. I'm not going to change, just like you're not going to change. And, Joe and I connected because of our background from New York and our personalities. But, I mean, you can come into my store at any time, and I could tell you that I'll talk to the homeless guy that's coming in, because there's a lot of them, or I'll talk to the mayor that's walking in, or the CEO. I don't care who you are or what you are, as long as you are good to me and respectful. I'm the same way. And I try to teach my staff that, and these kids today need that. I can't tell you how many kids come in and like, they're all like the second or third Valentina there, because like you could tell there's a disconnect somewhere in their family life or school. They'll stay after and eat a pizza at the end. They'll tell us things, certain things, not everything, but
yeah, sure.
I don't want to be like that with my daughter, and I don't want to be like at Valentina's 24/7, because it's not the way I envision it.
Yeah.
But,
Joe, I could talk to you all day.
No, I know. I appreciate it.
I know you got to get to work.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming in. And I feel like I'll say this to every guest. I want to have you back on.
Oh yeah, whenever.
Potentially, maybe we wait till after the
Atlantic City,
the Hulu thing.
The Hulu
if you think you can get Portnoy to come on the podcast, I'll bring my mics over there.
The thing about that is, you would need to be like, he doesn't call you and tell you he's coming.
Yeah. Oh, I'd be ready. Yeah, sure.
My friend, real quick, I'll tell you what he did is, he got an 8.2, which is a high score. I think I told you. But Portnoy called in the order. So I would like text you. I got to get your cell. And I would text him like, get here. He waited 30 minutes. Because Portnoy, they told him 30 minutes. He walked in 30 minutes. And as soon as Portnoy walked in, he made it. That was the big difference too. Because if you make it and then you wait 30 minutes, it's going to be a flop. It's not going to be crispy.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, no, you get like a 30-minute window.
Okay. But
I'm sure that if he came, we could block him in the store. But as soon as that painting gets done next week, I'll send you some pictures. He's going to be here next Friday and Saturday.
We'll do some clips off of that maybe.
Yeah, and then I'm just going to direct. I mean, listen, I was at the Atlanta Braves Yankee game last year on a Monday. Someone took a picture on a Saturday or Sunday. He responded by Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I know for a fact he'll see this one.
Yeah.
And I'll just call him out underneath it or something.
It's like I don't necessarily want to be famous, but sometimes you do want to be recognized for what you are trying to do, or some of the thoughts you have, right? You feel like you come up with some genius type things. And,
I like the way you said that.
It's like, I don't know, just validation or recognition.
Well, I think for me, the validation was winning.
Well,
like
sure.
That like validated from my inside. Like, people tell you have the best pizza in the world. No, this is the best one I've ever had. But it's not like I don't need to go and say I have the best pizza in Huntsville.
Yeah.
It's not.
There's a lot of good pizza.
Great. Exactly. But that's not why I did the win. The win is more of a personal thing.
Sure.
Validating from me for what I've been through the last 30 years in this industry has nothing to do with any other pizzeria or if I'm better than them in the area. It's more of validating me and then getting that recognition finally, and now being successful on the other end, it really like validates in doing the brick and mortar and creating more jobs in the community and helping less fortunate and kids that don't have a direction.
Yeah.
So
Well, keep killing it, man.
Thanks. Sorry I talked so much.
No, not at all. This is you. Well, you smashed my previous record of duration.
Oh, geez.
Which is great. So you are the record holder for the longest podcast, which is.
Right.
But hey, I need to be conditioned for that too.
I know I kind of went on and on.
No,
I had too many stories.
But that's the purpose of long form, right? Because and I'm not going to denigrate anybody that does another podcast or a story, but they're usually very quick, right? And you're going to probably get some of the same
rhetoric.
It's the same rhetoric, and it's the same question kind of over and over. I tried really hard to come at you from a different angle, to do my own research and try to ask you a question you maybe not been asked before, and or just take all the time in the world to just talk and fill in a ton of gaps that most people, and this is going to be the first, right, for a lot of people when they hear it, like, I had no idea. I didn't know that. Just like your mom, right? Like, I'm not going to tell my mom that. I'm not going to tell my friends that. And so I appreciate you being a good sport and being transparent.
No, I appreciate it. I want to thank, my staff.
Yeah.
I mean, for the support. My girlfriend, lives in New York, but we make it work, and she's been like right by my side the last 8 months, 6 months, whatever we've been together. But and my ex-girlfriend for helping me. I don't have any ill will towards anybody, and I thank the community. The biggest thing is thank the community.
Yeah.
Because without people in the community and like people like yourself and your wife coming in, Valentina's doesn't exist. You could win all the awards you want. I could win 10 of them. Without you and your family coming in, there is no Valentina's.
Yep.
So I appreciate it to everybody, and
we'll probably be there tonight. I'm gonna bring my older boys.
Cool.
Yeah. I've been talking about it. There's a little bite right in that. You don't have to tell me the secret, but I like how there's just a little bit of your dough, your crust gets your attention. There's something in there.
We work hard on that.
Yeah.
I'll take you behind the scenes the next podcast when Portnoy comes in.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right, Joe. Have a good one.
You too.